6:30 on the scared me. It is 6:30 on the 27th, meeting of the Scituate Select Board. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Seconded by Ms. Conley. All in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. I want to read the statement first before we get underway. The Scituate Select Board is committed to providing an environment of respect during meetings. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there's disagreement. We value the participation of our community, and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. We ask our community members and all who participate to commit to these standards, to support and respect our community. We also ask, first time fully chairing a meeting, patience and possibly forgiveness as well. With that, are there any walk-ins that, again, walk-ins for folks, things that are not on the agenda? Walking in. Seeing none, we will go over to the report of the town administrator.
Good evening. Welcome to the last meeting in June, since I believe it's almost July 4th. As always, we'll start with our water update. The reservoirs at +1/2 inch. Last week we were +2. Tack factory ponds at +2. Last week we were at +3. Average daily demand for last week was 1.78 million gallons a day, down a little bit from the previous week's 1.8. Rainfall was 0.99. That's measured Saturday to Saturday, so it doesn't include the rainfall we got last night. Reminder, we are under our current water restrictions, May 1st to September 30th. All outdoor watering must occur before 9 a.m. and after 5. Automatic irrigation systems may be used 1 day per week based upon your voting precinct. You can go to the Scituate Water Department website and find out when your precinct can water. The iron and manganese contact project that we talked about received its final inspection last week. It was put online over the weekend. This project is hopefully to help remove the iron and manganese from the water that's in the pond. That was a big cause of our groundwater last year. It'll take a little while for that to ramp up and start operating fully, but we do hope it will be up and running completely in the next several days and see some good results from that. We do ask people, if you have groundwater, please let us know. There's an email address on the town website, or call the water department. These are helpful data points for us to let us know where there's problems. And in some cases, the issue might be on your street or on your individual house. We can do some things to take care of that. So please let us know if you have a problem with the water. And please conserve water. We are getting into the high usage times, I know. We've had a lot of rain, but every drop we save now is more than we have for later on. Good news, Select Board Member Goodrich had talked about this at our last meeting, starting July 1st. Scituate residents who purchased a new qualifying energy efficient washing machine or dishwasher or qualifying SmartSense toilet will be eligible for a rebate from the town of Scituate of up to $250 for the washing machine or dishwasher and $150 for the toilet. The applications right now are on the Water Department website. We have a new page for that. Right now they're up on the Water Department website. And those applications have links to eligible products that will qualify for these rebates. So you go there and follow the directions. This program is open until the funds run out. I believe we have about $25,000 in the budget for that. So if you are replacing a washing machine or replacing a dishwasher or a toilet, you use one of the eligible items, you are eligible for a rebate. If you are buying new or building new, you are not eligible. So excited to have that, and starting July 1st, I think after that we'll be eligible. If you're driving down 3A, you'll see the project for the water main has started. They're putting in the erosion controls. They'll be doing that most of this week. The contract will actually start working next week after the July 4th holiday. This is the new raw water line that will go from Old Open Bucket Pond to Stearns Meadow, the site of our new water treatment plant. We'll also be putting a new surface line in for the homes on 3A in those neighborhoods. It's going to be a project that will take all summer. As the board discussed, we will keep the lanes open. You should expect slowdowns if you drive in that neighborhood starting after next 4th of July. Tomorrow night at 5 o'clock on the library lawn is the kickoff of the summer reading for the library. This year we're going to feature Abracadabra with magician Mike Bent for the kickoff. Go on the line to the library website to sign off. The program starts at 5. There will be a free snow cone for everybody involved. And at 6, you can see Mike Bent for a fun-filled magical hour filled with educational magic and comedy. This is a drop-in program. They do ask you to sign up in advance. 4+ with parent with them is what is asked for. As I mentioned, next week is July 4th. Public safety wants to remind people fireworks are illegal in Massachusetts as it's underage drinking and the public consumption of alcohol. Bonfires are also not allowed in Scituate, including Hubbark. We do want to remind people that may be having guests or house parties, please make sure the street remains passable to public safety vehicles. Fire trucks and ambulances are pretty big vehicles, so make sure there's plenty of room to get by in case of an accident. The Oceanside I&I project is into the repair phase of the project. We finished the cammering of the pipes, and we're now in the repair phase. So they've started the installation of lines in the pipes to stop the inflow of groundwater and seawater into the pipes. Removing this reduces the amount of flow going through the water treatment plant, reducing wear and tear in the plant, and hopefully freeing up capacity for expanded use going into the future. They put a liner in the pipe, they bake it in, and then they send a machine in there that actually cuts out the laterals and opens those back up. I heard it's pretty cool. I take Will's word for it. I'm not gonna go take it out now, and they can do that all by themselves. Dayton Road, Second Ave, Wampatuck Ave, Noble Ave, Turner Road, Rockford Ave, Otis Road, and Williams Ave will be working on this week. Just an update for people, if you go out to the lighthouse this week, you'll see it is several feet shorter than it used to be. The contract has removed about 4.5 feet of brickwork from the top of the tower. Now that that's been removed, they will pour what I call the concrete dome on the inside. That holds the concrete slab that holds the lantern room. So that's put back up, and that's all cured. They will then put the bricks back up, pour the slab, and eventually that lantern room will come back and bring the lantern room on top. That project is scheduled to be finished late this summer, early fall. It is funded by the Community Preservation Act and various grants from state and local agencies. Finally, we just want to remind people school is out for the summer. I can see how happy the kids are here. They're not to be at school, but they had to come to a select board meeting tonight. So please be a little extra careful driving on the roads. There's a lot of kids out there on bikes, skateboards, scooters, going to recreation programs, going to the beach. So just please go a little slow, take a little more time when the kids out of school, and we'll all have a safe and happy summer. And that's what I have for this evening.
Excellent, thank you. Answering my question, what was going on Wampatuck Ave and some of those other streets? Any questions?
Which care? Just a couple of quick things. Can we do a social, or you may have already done, a social media post on the abatement program to help get the word out?
Haven't done one yet, but yes, we can do that.
And then second is, are they going to do a camera investigation after the liners put in? Because it was pretty dramatic, the pre-picture.
I don't know if they do it right afterwards, but we'll probably go back and check.
Well, which one rains really, really hard and then.
Yeah, give them a chance to cure, then go back and take a look. The ones down in Egypt Ave, that's probably gonna be a replacement as opposed to a lining, just because of the condition of that pipe and the way it goes.
Thank you.
Good questions? Moving on. We have an announcement to the appointment of a new fire chief.
I am on a roll, 2 in a row.
Yes.
I gave the board the official letter. I am pleased to announce that I've named Deputy Fire Chief Mark Donovan as the new fire chief for the town of Scituate, effective July 8th, 2023. Pending successful negotiation of an employment agreement. Chief Murphy is using up some of his time, so he's on the books until July 7th. So Mark will officially take over on July 8th. Mark's been on the department since 1989. He's been deputy chief since 2022. He did a great job in the assessment center, was #1 on the score coming out of civil service on the chief's list. So it was a pretty easy appointment to take the top guy on the list. He did the best anyway. So Chief Murphy did a good job in the department. I think Chief Donovan is going to take it to the next level. So I'm pleased to announce that appointment. Under the charter, the appointment is mine. The Board of Selectmen has 15 days with which to reject my appointment, or you may take a vote to waive your right of rejection and allow the appointment to go into effect immediately. So I would ask that the board take that vote tonight, give to Chief Donovan, give him the blessing of the board, and get him started on the next fire chief for the town of Scituate.
Thank you, Jim. First of all, I want to thank Chief Murphy again for all the wonderful work throughout all the years. And also to thank you for going through the process, to introduce Dr. so many folks and having such a great result here. All of us know Mark for years as well. What is the temperature of the board on discussion?
When is our next meeting scheduled?
July 11th.
So after the appointment, okay. I would say that I would have no objection to maybe we don't have a full board tonight, but I don't think it should wait till after the effective date, if we don't have to. I don't either. I think we should move it tonight. Do you like motion?
I would love a motion, please.
Move that the select board of the town of Scituate waive its right to object to the appointment by the town administrator of Mark Donovan as our new chief of the fire department.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Conlon. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, fabulous news.
So now the chief and Bob and I will now start on the next list, and we will work on finding a replacement for Mark as the deputy. And when the chief and deputy are in place, then it'll be their job to replace whichever officer who's up in the deputy. So hopefully within a couple weeks after that, I'll suggest it's going to be the deputy chief also.
Thank you. All right, moving right along. Do we have Charlie and June Powers to discuss an outdoor entertainment permit for a private event on July? Come on up.
Come on up, yes.
And then just for the record, just your name and address, please. Just let us know what we're doing.
We are having a wedding reception. My youngest daughter is getting married to this fine gentleman next to me. We are having the ceremony on the beach and a backyard tent reception. That's what we're applying for the permit.
Excellent. Awesome top, first of all, wonderful news. Let's see, it's 114 Tilden Road, is that right? DJ 5 to 11 p.m. Things have been looked at. Do we have any questions or concerns?
Thrilled.
Seeing none? You have no concerns, are you sure? Making sure. All right.
I keep checking his feet and asking if he has some slippers.
No, and the location of this is as hosted outdoor events required.
Outside the west end, it's about the best place within the environs of Scituate. It's a 5-acre lot. And there will be a partial enclosure around the tent, so that'll keep the sound down a little bit.
So we have, first, wish you the best.
Thank
We have.
Move to approve an outdoor entertainment permit for a DJ at 114 Tilden Road, Saturday, July 1st, 2023, from 5 to 11 p.m. with the best wishes from this board.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, second by Ms. Harrison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous.
Very good, thank you very much. We'll see you there. Yeah,
I'll be over
the beach. Thank you very much.
All right, we have another outdoor entertainment at Darius. We have Darius for July 1st, Oceanside Drive. Excellent. All right,
Did an excellent job running your first meeting.
I'm trying.
Make it look
I'm
easy.
trying. All right.
So-
I didn't.
You didn't even prep. Good. So what we're doing is it's my belated 50th birthday party. So I'm having some friends come in from town. We're gonna have my son Cyrus's band is going to play, and then my band is hopefully going to play, which is why Karen, I said, if you wanna come and join us, I've heard our lead singer, and we could definitely use some help. There will be a tent in the front yard, and that's about it.
All right, Oceanside Drive. Let's see, it's 5 to 9.
Is there any chance we go to the 9:30? Is there any cutoff? I want to be respectful of the neighbors as well.
And then, oh, and you sent off the notices to the abutters, which I see.
Sure do.
That's it, so we're to the board with thoughts, concerns.
This is your residence, right?
What is it, what's your side, yes, ma'am?
Unfortunately, there's been some other events in your neighborhood that were, I got a little nervous on Oceanside, but,
Well, I've heard from the
Yes.
neighbors, I'm well aware of the individual of which I think you're referring. It's my residence, ma'am.
Did the abutters notice say 9:30?
Yeah, the abutters notice says 5 to 6 and then 7 to 9,
If that's what we need to do.
if that's
we can do that.
what, or that's the one I'm reading. Seven thirty, alright, sorry, 5 to 6, 7:30 to 9. So what's the process, if we notify at a time, is that the time?
Yeah, what is Jim, what's the protocol on that?
Probably the best one.
You generally try to adhere to the notice that you give to the abutters. You don't have to, but you generally try to get the notice.
Probably better since
Yeah.
it was
Well,
notice.
It opens you up to folks saying, but you said 9.
I just need to hear the band first, decide whether they.
I had that ability.
He's really good. And he's really good. That's the bad one.
You can go to 9:30, you'll shut off.
Deal. Because there is a free group sold that goes well. So
I might have to come for that. Who does the free bird solo?
Any other questions, concerns? You're good till 9?
Move to grant an outdoor entertainment permit for a live band on Saturday, July 1st, 2023, from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 27 Oceanside Drive.
Moved by Ms. Conley,
Second.
second by Ms. Harrison, all those in favor? Yes.
Happy
thank you guys,
birthday.
appreciate it. We'll see you on by.
Enjoy.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wedding and party, another way. Bowman,
Another way.
Michael Bowman.
Hello, thanks for seeing me tonight. My wife and I's youngest son will be getting married on August 19th. We'd like to have an outdoor wedding for him at our marina in the Scituate Harbor. There'll be a tent aside, we put the sides out towards the street, and towards our neighbors to us. The band will be playing until 10 o'clock, not a band, it's a DJ, sorry, until 10 o'clock.
And then just for the race, just, so your
On my
name and address, just.
Yeah,
so
I
I'm
live in
gonna
my,
be, so I know.
I live at 24 Jericho Road.
All right, so 5 to 10. Parking in the Scituate Harbor. Now, there's an event there in the morning, but it's okay to park after 3 p.m. So we know that.
Our wedding is at 5.
That's a 5, yeah, so everything there. Questions, concerns?
What is the event that be prior, and how are we gonna make sure the parking lot's clear, have we heard this?
It's fine, they know they have to leave by 10 o'clock.
Alright.
Yeah, so Mr. Bowman, obviously, because of where you are, where you live, you know that area well. So you're aware of the fact that not all of the parking spaces at the Harbor Community Building, there's a lot of marina parking as well and trailers, so just don't want.
Yeah, that's fine. I also am friendly with the marina next door.
Oh, good, good. I figured you probably were, but just check.
This is your first wedding, just.
No, we've had a couple.
High time down there.
Right.
Any other questions or? Yeah, congratulations, fabulous news. We have a motion.
Move that the select board approve an outdoor entertainment tournament for 24 Jericho Road on Saturday, August 19th, 2023, from 5 to 10 p.m. and to allow guests to park at the community harbor, at the Scituate Harbor Community Building. Pier 44.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Campbell, seconded by Ms. Conley. All those in favor? Aye, it is unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Enjoy your night.
Thanks. We now have Maureen
I have to recuse myself.
Ray for the Scituate Harbor Yacht Club. And just give it a second, so Ms. Campbell must recuse herself. We're gonna talk about all these events. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you? Good evening.
I'm doing well.
And I'm here on behalf of the Scituate Harbor Yacht Club to present their list of summer events with entertainment. There's quite a list of them here. I don't know if you want me to read them all off, but it's from June, it's this coming Friday through the end of October.
And most of these, almost all of these have been done in the
I'd
past, unless
say
there's something
9 out of 10 are
yeah,
exactly the same as last year.
same as last year. Cocktail parties, DJs on the lawn, back deck, DJ and inside. Most of the outside ones are done around 8. I'm seeing there's one back deck at 11, that's on Labor Day, which is on a Saturday. That's some riders. 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all public, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Questions, concerns? Give her a second, take a look.
Okay.
Have we had any complaints from neighbors about music outside?
I don't know whether this is almost my 10th year, but I'm not there. Nice lights shining at night, late at night, that's really the only complaint we've ever had over the years.
So there's nothing out of the ordinary.
It's pretty much exactly the same as last year.
Trustee Bowman, any concerns? May I have a motion? A lot of good activities.
Do we need to read all of them?
You can just say as listed.
Okay, move to grant an outdoor entertainment permit to the Scituate Harbor Yacht Club on the following dates. See attached list for 2023 Scituate Harbor Yacht Club outdoor entertainment events, dates and times.
Moved by Ms. Harrison.
Second.
Second. Ms. Conley, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous.
Very much. Good summer, everyone. Yeah, you too.
All right. Next on our list, we're gonna review and discuss TK O'Malley's annual outdoor entertainment permit. And I believe Jean is here, and I'm sorry, and Rich.
Yes.
Come on up. All right, so we're here, I'll ask you your name and address in a second, but just so folks know, we're here to talk about current entertainment license. We've received some backup information, some letters over the last 2 years. And so TK's is here to seek permission to have a guitar, a microphone, and amp on outside of the deck.
Yes.
So, and name and address and
Rich Shanahan, 215 Winslow Street, New Hampshire.
Keith Collins, 95 Children Road, Scituate.
tell us a bit about some of these events you'd like to do.
Yeah, we've been currently having singers on the weekends, just 4 to 7. Saturdays and Sundays, occasional Mondays and holiday. The way the permit reads is for an acoustic guitar, which the last time we went for this license, it really wasn't a decision what an acoustic guitar was.
Right.
Does that mean amplified, or does that mean some kind of guitar? So as I read it, this is what we've been doing. There was one occasion where an individual brought a guy on a beatbox. I don't know if you're familiar with that, it's drum set. Neighbor complained, so we both don't want. But since then, that's all we've had. It goes 4 to 7. I can keep them out there until 11 o'clock for a license, but I don't. I just do 4 to 7 for that atmosphere. That's what we can do. So now we got to go to 5 that somebody's complaining that we don't have a license for amplification, but it never was discussed about amplification.
If you don't have amplification, you can't hear it all over the, when we first started 30 years ago, it wasn't all the free-to-play clubs and all the hustle and bustle, and we probably could get away with just a guitar, but you really can't hear it, and it's like, it's so minute, it's, I used to live on Second, but you could never hear it. Because it does carry over water, but not going into it.
And they are aimed out at the water as well, not aiming indoor, out on the sidewalk. It's right there, Rich. for the quarter on the deck, if we see it.
That's, I think the same year after year, the same neighbor. And we're in the business district, it's goes with what we do, we don't have a band, it's mellow music, it's nothing crazy, so I would like to continue with that little bit, so people.
Right.
That's all we request.
Well, it's just more or less one amplification of the music, because we're not gonna be able to get singers who don't have amps, well, not amps, but we're not talking AC/DC only in here.
Right.
We're talking a guy with a guitar, who's got one.
But again, you get that. You get that. And so are you looking, if we did amplification till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock?
Well, I don't wanna give up, I mean, the time is fine, I've been doing it just 4 to 7, I don't foresee having a band outside until midnight, until 11 o'clock. It's just the nature of the business, the way, ever since COVID started, things have always changed. The late night has almost dissipated to a degree, whatever reason, but it's, the 4 to 7 is just like, it's a family atmosphere, it's a good mix of people, and that's all I'm really looking for. I'm too busy, knock on wood, to be tying up everything with the, singer up there in that area, so. It's just mainly what we're looking for, is just to have the availability for the playing through the microphone and singing and the guitar.
So you're talking 4 to 7 on
That's what I've been doing.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what days?
Right now, it reads, outside it says Monday through Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Thursdays through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's what the
Right.
license reads now.
Yeah, right, I understand that, but if we're trying to get to the question about the amplification.
Yeah.
And you're saying that you would be happy with 4
Well, I'd be
7.
happy with whatever you want to give us. I don't want to give anything up if I don't have to.
Well,
But I don't wanna, I mean, like I said, I haven't been using the full extent of the license. So. Right, here,
well,
I mean,
you
yes,
have,
I don't wanna, if it's gonna be the selling point here, sure. If we can do it from 4 to 7, that's fine with me.
for amplification, I don't think anyone here is necessarily thinking of shrinking your entertainment license. But if the issue is amplification, if you're willing to only do the amplification from 4 to 7 on whatever days, that's a different ask than amplification until 10 or 11. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't need it to be 11 o'clock at night, or 10 o'clock at night, I really don't care to have that day out there, that.
The only exception we,
Well, that's in.
Alright.
Can I?
Yep.
I just have one question. We're only talking about the outdoor patio, because
Right
if I'm
now,
reading the right license, there's an inside restaurant license
Correct.
component to the license, and then an outdoor patio. So we're only addressing the outdoor patio.
I'd like to get to the indoor as well, after the else.
Okay, oh, gotcha, okay. The times weren't matching up, and I was
Yes.
just.
So,
So let's back.
if you wanna
Back it
grant
up for a
us, if
second.
you wanna grant us amplification 4 to 7 on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it's a Monday holiday, something like that, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're trying, so the goal here tonight, and I want to hear from anyone in the audience.
Mhm.
We're trying to find some compromise, so everyone leaves here a little bit unhappy. That's what compromise
Or a little bit
usually is.
happy.
And a little bit happy, it's a little bit of both, usually. We have other outdoor permits with amplification, Rivershed that goes to the town.
Mhm.
And my goal, is I always like to try to treat businesses equally. The Vine Bar, if I, correct me if I'm wrong, when I read that, I think theirs goes to 10.
Mhm.
My other question would be, you have TVs outside, which are amplified, so you can watch the Red Sox, right? I don't know how that even applies for outdoor.
It doesn't require an outdoor entertainment permit.
But
We don't turn the
my point,
sound.
my point being, I'm just trying to make sure that we're treating people equally around wherever they are. And there's not that many places that have an outdoor space, so that's why there's not. We have Rivershed, we've got Lime Bar, that little space. Club, no, I don't think so. So chopsticks and forks, good, that's right. That's all, so that's what we're trying to do, make sure that we're in the right space and we're doing things. I'm trying to set the bar there. no pun intended. Questions?
So there's a couple of things that we have to sort of think about, right? So one is if we were to amend the license to allow for, call it minor amplification, right? I think that we would have to be very careful with the language because amplified could be a band. And that's why I know you're not seeking that, but as a board, that language we would just need to be very careful. I would put out, maybe it's pieces, no more than a 2 minute. I don't know how to define that.
Yeah, our first entertainment license we had was for an accordion player and guitar player.
But you know,
Yeah,
You don't want that?
no, that was a carryover.
you don't need it.
So I mean, the most we've had out there was 2 guys, that's it.
Right,
So-
so I think that we just need to be careful about the language. It should we decide to modify to allow, the guy with a side amp that you plug in. The sound does carry. I was sitting in the harbor on Sunday and was tapping my toe. It was lovely music, but it definitely went across the harbor. So I like the idea of curtailing it at a reasonable
Well, it
level.
says acoustic guitar only.
Well, acoustic doesn't have
Well, I know,
when this
but-
was written to go at
Yes.
10 o'clock at night, I recall the conversation, and it was,
Yes.
a guy with a guitar.
Yeah.
And nobody was gonna come and we had him wait till 10 o'clock to travel. So this is a different, a different ask.
Yeah, it's, our license says acoustic guitar only, so is it okay if we just do acoustic guitar only with minor amplification?
That's what I'm pointing out.
I mean, the term.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
I mean, an acoustic guitar is
where
I
did
looked
this?
it up, he actually said that it's the name of the guitar, it's acoustic guitar, doesn't mean that it can't be plugged in.
I
That was the
know,
great-
it's,
that
we're
was
getting
the
into the
great-
weeds of semantics, but I think it's really more of a, as Mr. Chair said, is just the equity, making sure the language is consistent, we're allowed one thing here and another thing, another place, we don't want to make sure that it is that.
Or what is like the river sheds, what's their license?
I didn't even know
It's
they had an
seasonal.
outdoor one there.
It's in the backup.
Oh, it is?
It's seasonal, so there's a seasonal, it's wants to go in December.
Correct, same.
Oh, yeah.
Seasonal till 10.
Say anything about amplification, because everybody uses amplification.
I mean, they have amplification at the river ship for sure.
Oh,
Outside,
definitely,
yeah.
I can hear it. It's lovely, actually.
Rivershed?
No,
Should
I'm
have
sorry,
River-
the
River
River
Club.
Club, River Club, they have.
Yeah,
some-
River
Oh,
Club.
that track was a long way.
You're hearing
I mean, untold.
Rivershed does not even have an outdoor entertainment.
Yeah, they-
That's a separate issue.
Oh, that's another.
I mean, River Club.
River Club.
We're talking about Rivershed
Which is the one down,
near yours.
River.
Yeah.
Yes,
and they have an outdoor
yes,
Yes,
and they are allowed to do
Country stores.
amplification.
yes.
So I have a question about amplification, instead of using terms like minor amplification, there must be some sort of decibel level that you could say to people, you can't exceed a certain amount of decibels, yes, Jim?
How would you measure it? Someone's gonna have to analyze it.
Well, if there was a complaint, I mean, what's a reasonable decibel level?
There's gonna be a complaint no matter what we do.
But if it's not a reasonable complaint, if you're, well, I'm just trying to set some expectations here, that if we have a standard saying minor, well, what's minor to you isn't minor to someone else. I would be more inclined to say not to exceed X, Y, Z decibels, and we would all understand what that level would be set at. And if someone complains and the police go down and it's exceeding it, then the complaint is valid, and if it's not, then it isn't.
But we don't have equipment to measure decibels.
Well, then I don't know how you decide, it becomes very subjective instead of objective.
Well,
Right,
Right,
well, some of the issues would be, it's not objective, is the time, right? So
Yeah.
Right,
if you have someone that's really loud neighbor, the time matters, right? Doesn't matter if your next neighbor is doing boombox amplified versus after 11 o'clock at night, you gotta be shut off.
right.
So it's the time that's definitive. So how many pieces in a band would be for
Well, like I said,
25 piece
we're not
orchestra?
doing, it's been, like I said, single singer or a duet. There's one guy with his son who's 4 years old playing guitar on there.
Right.
We're not,
I mean, last year there was a drummer,
it was on the beatbox, yes.
a band, a guitarist, and some other instrument on it. So that would be a small 3-piece band.
They've not been back since.
This year
I didn't know
was,
they were bringing the guy to beatbox.
but this year was a guitarist and a singer. So, I mean, I think those are the differences, based on the entertainment licenses that we've done in the past.
Is it solo or duo?
Right,
Yeah, if you're looking for or somewhat consistency, it's hard to
Right.
find consistency.
solo or duo, yeah.
So, all right.
Solo, duo.
Well, let's hear from, is there anyone from, like, to speak on this?
Hi, I'm Marjorie Foster Leary, 199 Front Street, I'm sure Rich Lenahan recognizes the name. We're the nearest home on Front Street to TK's. Just a couple of things. They're already in violation of their present license because they were amplified. Okay,
Okay.
so that's a violation right there. And as Ms. Conley mentioned, what is minor? What is minor to TK's is not minor to me when I'm outside enjoying the sun. I can hear them. So it's not minor to me. Second other statement is the wine bar, I believe, is inside, they're not out on that little area.
Well, they
That's
have
right.
both licenses, indoor or outdoor.
I'm totally against amplified. I was at this meeting, whenever it was, years ago, and the discussion was, it was the Dennehy and Mr. Vignani. They weren't clear what acoustic nor amplification was, and I think that's where things got clouded. They didn't see the difference.
Agree with that.
I'm totally against it, and I hate being here. And I'm sorry.
So, I mean, it's your opinion, never be sorry, but I feel. I mean, to take into consideration, I have no other complaints from anyone else in town. You're the only people, and people have voted by their feet to go to these events. And I haven't heard I haven't heard anything else from anyone else. And so if there's a neighbor, my next door neighbor has a boombox that's loud, there's certain times. And so what we're trying to do here, the best that we can, is to treat TKs the same that we would treat other businesses for times of day and amplification. If other businesses have amplification, I don't know what right I would have to tell someone else they couldn't. But I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Points of information. Mr. Linehan said that they only used an acoustic guitar with amplification. If you take a look at the two photographs I gave you, I started this process, they are clearly electric guitars, not acoustic guitars, fully amplified. So the statement that, well, we use electric guitars is a different view of reality than what
I didn't say that, I'm sorry.
I said that because I was understanding.
Sure, that's the past. We're trying to see what we're gonna do in the future. So what time of day do you think would be a good time if we know that Rivershed does 10? What would you be comfortable with?
71. Absolute positive end of voice coming from the music. That's
7 o'clock.
that's what he said.
I said, that's what we're doing right now, it's clear.
And you said you would be satisfied with that. I'll agree with it.
So that would be your starting point, 7.
If it comes, if I could continue my point, they have clearly ignored their current license. So why are we doing what we're doing to accommodate them? Are there no consequences to their willful choices? No. Number one.
Even what your wife just said,
Sir,
I was just gonna rebut that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have photographs of electric guitars, number one. Number two, I would point, like, another piece of information, there have been complaints from other people about other, establishments and noise on Front Street. And I'm sure that's part of your minutes, because one of the, selectmen said, it's a mixed-use area, you gotta respect. Why did you move here? That's in the minutes for the past selectmen. So it's not that these people are being victimized and everybody else is getting away with it.
Can I just say one thing, it's not even
There you go.
about noise.
Oh, hold on.
So I'm asking what your response to the two statements that I made, that they willfully violated their license. They misspoke when they said, we just had electric guitars, we just had acoustic guitars with a mic. That was,
Number one, whenever that initial vote happened on acoustic, I was not part of those discussions. And here's what I'm gonna say, is that we're here today to try to look what we can do in the future, to make sure that folks are doing things the right way. And I can only speak for myself, not for the board, but I saw those photos, and this is not that. It was light outside, I think at 7 o'clock, my 7-year-old is still up right now. It is not my big concern that TK's has a 2-person band, and there's been one person to complain. And I'm trying to find a way that we can find some common ground here. And so if we're starting at 7, we're starting at 7, sir.
Ken Conroy, 15 Eagles West Road.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
Ken Conroy, C-O-N-W-O-Y, 15 Eagles West Road.
Okay.
So if someone's in their boat and they're playing their boombox, isn't the control on them 11 p.m.?
That would be
And
my
any private residence?
correct.
Okay, so I don't know what the problem is.
Any other questions, board?
I just want to speak to the question of other consequences, and it's a fair question. So, I forgot the date, but last year there was a complaint, and we were issued a notification of violation of the code. As I understand it, our only recourse, and this is sort of a macro question, is our board, our only recourse pending, if somebody's egregiously violating a license, our only recourse other than to notify you that is to revoke the permit. We don't have anything in place to find people, I don't believe, right? We never set up
No,
that.
not in the
Quite
bylaws.
honestly, some things come up, and most of our businesses are very respectful of their community they serve. They give them a notice and they cease the activity. We're here discussing this again because you brought up that this behavior that is objectionable to you is continuing. So to our chair's point, this is where we have a choice. We can either revoke the license, which would be within the board's authority, or we can look to find a compromise that is respectful of both the business that we want to thrive and the community in which it sits. So that's just to answer that one question. I think there are a lot of contributions to this community that are long reaching, and as you said, our folks are, I know that patio right now is full, and it's an asset to our community, it's an economic development driver. We are a residential neighborhood, we always have been. And I think that curtailing the hours in which there is outdoor entertainment, I'm struggling a little because, as you said, is it fair to the businesses. If there's an inequality, but you really are standalone, you've got a unique location and a unique business, and you have them very respectful hours wise. I mean, I was sitting on the deck and I heard the music and then it stopped and I was like, oh, must be time to go home because the sun's setting. And it wasn't disturbing, but it was definitely.
Another point is that we have two neighbors behind us, basically, between us and the north.
Yes.
They never registered a complaint once. They're a lot closer than we are.
They're a little bit too close.
So just
So,
point.
Well,
so I,
yes,
Go
so I was just going to try to find, I'm sensing there's some consensus to grant an outdoor amplified license till some set time. I would propose some sort of compromise to, other businesses are 10, so maybe we say 9 o'clock.
I don't know what to say 10.
I'm comfortable with 10, I was trying to do some bone, but no,
I understand, but I agree with your assessment that, you know, if we treat certain businesses, why would we treat anyone differently? Why does the yacht club get to have outdoor entertainment license on occasion until 11? They're in a neighborhood. You know, and I'm not unsympathetic, but when you live in a downtown area, and I lived in downtown Boston for years, there's a certain amount of, you know, things that go on in downtown areas that don't go on when you live out in the West End. And I'm inclined to think that, you know, as long as, I think you understand the issue of the loudness, which is within your control. So,
and these licenses, if we start getting inundated with complaints, we can revisit.
well,
I'm with you, I'm comfortable with going to 10. For the motion, no, we're gonna do a motion.
It's only for the, or is this?
Point of order.
We're discussing here, excuse me.
When you say 10, is this only the weekend? Right, because we're
Thursday.
modifying, we're modifying an existing,
Thursday,
and the
Friday,
existing one is Thursday through Sunday.
Well, Monday through Wednesday, 10 to 4.
Oh, sorry, outdoor patio, sorry. Monday through Wednesday, 4 to 10, and Thursday through Sunday, 12 to 10. But the discussion here is to modify the outdoor patio area, modify acoustic guitar only to acoustic guitar with amplification and limit the number of people to 2. And then, so we have that modification. And then the second is the times, the Monday through Wednesday timeframe, and then the Thursday through Sunday timeframe. So I'm wondering if the Monday through Wednesday timeframe could be earlier, and then the Thursday through Sunday be later. As I'm looking at these other ones, and it looks like there's quite a few of them are
what is,
it's hard to find.
again, we only got.
Because it is out.
Rivershed is 9 o'clock, excuse me, it's 10 o'clock.
I have to look that up.
I have it here. Rivershed is here, indoor,
Or
outdoor, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 12, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m.
Right, but if you look at all, sorry. The outdoor entertainment permits are almost all of them are acoustic guitar. guitar, untold, line bar.
They say acoustic guitar, but almost always they're,
They also
Yeah.
acoustic, right?
I
they all
think
say
we-
acoustic, but they're all amplified.
Yeah, I think there's a problem with a misinterpretation.
I think
That was my
So-
original point.
Yeah.
to Marjolaire's point, you know, the board is, you know, has not been clear in the past on what acoustic and amplification is, and that is where the confusion lies. That's exactly what Mrs. Leary said.
And it's confusing on Google.
And I think that was the confusion of these two things as well.
Well,
We have someone from
don't we know
Untold
what an
here.
acoustic guitar looks like
I'm not,
versus an electric guitar? And that it's possible to amplify an acoustic guitar?
yes,
So I think if we stipulate that acoustic guitars with amplification, that should address the issue. No, I
just
think, I
add
think if you
allow
want
amplification.
So what acoustic guitar is.
Yeah, I
I know what acoustic guitar is.
So that's essentially what we're saying is, one other way to do this is just to, as other places, like Untold and
Right.
an amplification, and add with amplification,
Right,
just like every other business.
Right,
right.
So the motion could be same hours, but type with amplification.
acoustic guitars with amplification.
And I think you have
Acoustic
to
with
say how many
amplification.
people too, because I do notice these other ones say
2 to 3.
duo, solo or duo, because I do think we need to define that if we don't, oh my gosh, there's so many people there.
And
Yes.
So how about
honestly,
duo?
it's really hard to be too raucous with an acoustic guitar.
If you look at the second
Electric
picture with the
guitars
two
are
guitar
different.
players,
There's one electric and there's one
one acoustic, one
acoustic.
Yeah,
And the
they're both
electric guitars are the ones that create kind of like the, yes, sir, I'm sorry, but they do. Electric guitars create a different sound than acoustic guitars.
Alright, so I'm getting the sense now. Duos with amplification,
With
Guitars.
acoustic guitars and amplification.
acoustic guitars, amplification, that's it. Solo or duo.
solo or duo, I think then that would match the other license and be specific enough.
I think you should add and singer
Alright, and
And
singer,
singer.
okay, good point,
with,
just in
with
case,
amplification, you know, that has a microphone.
Right,
just in case. And we probably need to be more specific on our other ones too, in the future,
Well, sir,
In the
did you
future, ongoing.
another day.
did you still have a question, concern, or?
I got a couple of points in place. You're not talking about sound, the difference between the sound of an acoustic guitar and electric guitar, we're talking about the volume. So if you amplify an acoustic guitar, I don't care what it sounds like, but the volume is the issue. And that was why it was a very strict and very specific limitation on the license that said acoustic only. Because you can put an amplifier on it and it is just as loud as an electric guitar. The sound may be different, they don't go wah, 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 but it's still an issue of the sound. And my second question is that I find this may be a point of law. That we are here tonight because there's a complaint about them violating their license. And as a result of this hearing, we are in fact granting them fewer restrictions, that we are in fact rewarding them for having this complaint here. And we're not treating all the places the same. They were very specific in terms of their limitation. They had that limitation years and years and years. And now all of a sudden, they're saying, well, you're not treating us fairly. Mr. Linehan,
I never said that, sir.
Mr. Linehan very specifically said, I'd be happy with 7 o'clock. You asked me for my rate, I said, I agree with that. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about expanding his license. Now, to the hours in terms of And in terms of the noise, I'm not understanding the process by which we reached this point from where we had an agreement between us.
I understand your frustration. I can, again, speak for myself. These people right up here may not be the owners and the managers forever. And so by setting the precedent of where and when people are going to be having amplification like other businesses, we're trying to make sure that that entity, the business, not these people, are being treated in an equitable way. And so, yes, I think possibly some, whoever brought it to our attention is pointing out that there's maybe some miscommunication, and we might be heading down the path of expanding the amplification to other times. So I think we're at the path now. Amplification with the acoustic and duo at their current hours. Is that correct? Is that where it is?
I put you on the spot. You have if I hate to do this to you, you can decide not to answer, but we have a gentleman who has an acoustic outdoor license here. Do you, and you will not be penalized for answering truthfully, do your entertainers show up with the little thing to plug in their acoustic guitar? As sort of, is that a norm?
They do, I mean, for us, I don't know that we utilize the outdoor part of our.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to.
He's not gonna say that.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it speaks to, is it just we've just written it wrong, which is I think what has become apparent, that we haven't written the actual, we haven't defined it appropriately across the board. Certainly not gonna penalize anybody for the way we wrote it. And I think that's what we're trying to remedy here, is that, that as you proposed would define it better, and that we should be mindful when we revisit next year's licenses, that we are clear about it too, so that everybody has the same language.
Can I have,
Sorry, Matt.
we're gonna do, this is the final word, we're gonna do a motion. Nope, sorry. Motion. Yes. Madam Clerk.
On the spot, all right. Let's see, I'd like to make a motion to modify the outdoor patio area component of the license from acoustic guitar only to acoustic, solo, or duo with guitar and or singer, Monday through Wednesday, with amplification, Monday through Wednesday, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. and Thursday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Ms. Conley. All those in favor? Aye. It is unanimous.
Did you have another? You said you had another. You had enough on
All right, next on the agenda, thank you, Heritage Day special event application. Elaine.
So the hours were the same, was it?
The hours were the same, I read.
Not changing it.
Not changing.
Just the type of music.
Just the type and the specificity,
Right.
yes. I read it off their license. And there, was that not right?
No, I'm just gonna write existing days and hours. So
Yes.
retype.
Okay.
Would you,
Yes.
if Lorraine can make a note when we do revisit these, just so that we are consistent with the
Yeah.
other outdoors, so we're consistent.
Yeah.
I like consistent policy.
We have to revisit that.
We have another outdoor entertainment permit application.
And the harder.
In the harbor until 11 p.m., which will be DJ. So,
I'm not till 11 p.m.
I know. Right.
I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't know if you have any, copy of what's going on, and she uses the same every year. Just a different singer, that's all.
All right, so again, this is August fourth?
Fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Fourth, fifth, and sixth, that's right, so Moon area on the fourth. Wonderful boat races on the fifth, Vendors Food Garden on the fifth, that goes from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday the sixth, that's Vendors Food Cart, 9 to 7, the beer garden, and the setup times are all in there as well. Setup times Friday, August 4th, kicking off early, 5 o'clock in the morning. Takedown times Sunday and Monday, Monday the 7th, 9 a.m. stack music conventions.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, do you want Matt Elder up there as well for the beer garden part? Or do you want to do that separately?
Hold on.
Oh, then we can do it together.
On Friday though, you don't forget that they have the, boat parade,
Yeah.
and the lesson will sleep Friday night.
Go for it, that's on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I just want to make sure you,
Are we expecting a fabulous Heritage Days this year?
I hope so,
Best yet?
every year. Last year was a little hot, but we're hoping it won't be as hot.
Excellent. Do we have questions? Yes.
I have questions. First off, what anniversary is this? I know
It's a 55th.
55th. I thought it was. Okay, that's great. I did have a couple of questions. I think you answered the first was, music goes to 7 on Sunday. Is that has been the same?
It's the same.
Okay.
The times didn't change, and I don't think anything changed the times, all occasions. I think the only thing that changed was the music band, who's singing on stage, that's all I can think of.
Okay, and then I think it was in here, but if you could just, the harbor master and the police department on the boat races and the parade, they've all reviewed, but they will be reviewing sort of.
I don't know that we've notified them, the Coast Guard's been notified.
We notify them.
Okay,
They're part of our routing of the whole
Okay.
project, and they all have to respond.
Yeah, I didn't see that, I just wanted to.
we met with the police, we have not met with the DPW, but we'll do that once we get, permission and the few little logistics, we work with the DPW.
And this is more a question for Jim is, in the backup, the harbor master's requested that the porta potties be located near the harbor master's office. I don't remember where they were in the past, but is he intending to close the public restrooms during the time?
We're,
Where are they?
He requested that last year and we complied, he wants to be in the academy.
Okay, well, that makes sense. And then the only last question I had was on the alcohol, the motion, it is all alcohol licenses that you are seeking. Okay, that was the motion. I thought somewhere it said that was just wine and malt that you're going to be serving next to you, it's all alcohol.
Yeah, it's kind of technicality, we'd like to serve RTD drinks that have technically vodka, they're still 5% there.
It sounds.
No, yeah, it's the.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we.
Yeah, we're not losing some drinks.
Those were my questions. Thank you for coordinating this little event.
Questions?
I did not.
No, I think the experience has always been positive and it's gotten better every year in terms of whatever has to be fixed, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing it.
Like
Every
to,
year I say it's a lot of beer.
Elaine.
can I get an exhaustive motion?
Yes, move to approve a special event permit to the Chamber of Commerce for Heritage Days as follows: Friday, August 4th, 2023, dusk, Luminaria and Boat Parade in Harbor. Saturday, August 5th, 2023, 8 a.m. boat races, Museum Beach, Jericho Road. Saturday, August 5th, 2023, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Vendors Food Court, Kitty Carnival, Beer Garden, and Music Cole Parkway. Sunday, August 6th, 2023, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Vendors Food Court, Kitty Carnival, Beer Garden, and Music Cole Parkway. Setup times Friday, August 4th, 5 a.m. stage area, 3 p.m. music and beer garden area, 5 p.m. to the amusement area. Saturday, August 5th, 5 a.m. vendors and food trucks and booths, takedown time, Sunday, August 6th, beginning at 8 p.m. Monday, August 7th, 9 a.m. staffed music benches. Number 2, move to approve a one-day all alcoholic beverages license to Untold Brewing LLC for a beer garden during Heritage Days on Full Parkway, August 5th, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and August 6th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Moved by Ms. Conley, do we have a second?
Second.
By Ms. Harrison, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous.
Thank you.
Now
See you
everyone
there.
knows what Heritage Days is. You're always asking, right?
I know.
Thank you. Right. Almost on schedule. We have Clark, yes. We're gonna talk collective bargaining agreement for the police union. How are you?
So, yes, we have, been bargaining with the police union for successor collective bargaining agreement, so this would be for the year, fiscal years FY 24 through to FY 26. We have reached agreement, we developed the MOA, which the police union membership voted on yesterday, and they overwhelmingly approved, which is great. So I'm presenting that for the board's approval. So the contract, when we began negotiating the contract, we did salary surveys and comparable salaries. Both the union and the town had done this, and we realized that the police union in particular, that membership, we were really sort of lagging behind. We were actually probably one of the lowest paid police departments in the South Shore. So we knew we had some real work to do. So we entered into this process with that knowledge. Some of the things that we've done, one of the first things we did with the contract is we really had to relook at the wage scale. There was a lot of potential issues with it. There was disparity between kind of the steps. So we created, there were some steps that were 1.5%, some steps were 5.5%, from one year to the next. So we created some consistency with the steps of 5%. The other issue that we saw is that the officers or the sergeants and lieutenants some of them were actually, some of our sergeants were actually making less money than our top step 12 officers. So that's obviously an issue as well. So we had an issue with rank differential with product. And so we addressed that as well. So we created a rank differential within the salary scale so that sergeants and lieutenants were making in the first year would be 5% more than the top step of the lower rank. And then in the second and third year of the contract, they'd be making 10%. So we really restructured the entire wage scale, and we think that actually went a long way towards creating a little bit more parity with the other towns. We also brought the step and added 2 longevity steps for the members. One of the things that dropping a step allows us to do is recruit more easily when we have a new hire. So in addition to reworking the wage scale, we did general wage adjustments. For the first year, there's a 0% COLA. And the primary reason for that is because with that readjustment of the wage scale, they received increases of between 5 to 11% depending on where they were. So there's no need to do a COLA. The second year of the contract, we agreed to a 1.5% wage increase, but we also agreed to an additional 1% wage increase, which would be contingent on the police union pulling out of civil service. That's a whole, I'll get to that in a bit, but that was a huge, I think, bonus for the town, and I'll explain kind of why. But them receiving that additional 1% increase is contingent on successfully removing the police union from civil service at a town hall, a town meeting vote. It went in through the town meeting, so it has to come out within the same year. So we would look to put that before the town meeting on probably in the fall. And then lastly, for wage increases, we agreed to a 3% COLA in the last year of the contract. The only other sort of major kind of increase, a change that we made was that we changed the detail rate. Again, we were really lagging behind other towns. Other towns didn't want us to come to Scituate to do our details because we were paying less than what they were getting elsewhere. So we increased that to be within sort of the market rate. So I want to discuss a little bit civil service, what that means. We made a couple other minor changes to, staffing patterns, locker searches, Juneteenth, we added Juneteenth, so minor, more housekeeping changes. Regarding the civil service issue, so about 2/3 of municipalities are out of civil service at this point for police departments. It's not quite as prevalent with fire departments, but with police, a lot of them really are already out. And one of the reasons we're seeing that happening is because the civil service system is a bit antiquated. It's understaffed, it's underfunded, and it's pretty inefficient. The way it works is when we have to when we recruit, we pull from a civil service list. So it's dictated to us who we hire. If we're not hiring the top person on that list, we have to have a reason to bypass them. So it's, again, it's a sort of cumbersome process, and it doesn't give us the latitude that we really want when it comes to recruiting. We believe we can set up our own system that is a more efficient way of recruiting, and I think we ultimately get better candidates. Another advantage is that many of the towns, since they're out of civil service, one of the ways a lot of towns recruit for police officers is through lateral transfers. So we think we would probably have people looking to come to the town of Scituate to work at our police department. But now that if we were out of civil service, we could take lateral transfers from non-civil service towns. So all of these measures, I think, probably would go a long way towards us being able to better recruit. And the other thing that and again, I'll put on my DEI hat, because I'm a representative of DEI, is it also, I think, allows us to include more diversity among the workforce in the police department. So there's a lot of advantages. We're hoping, and the union says they'll support the withdrawal at the town meeting, so we're hoping that passes. So I think the last thing I'll just mention in terms of the budgetary impact, it was, like I said, we have a long way to go to get up to parity. We're more in the middle of the pack, I think, at this point in terms of salary. The budget impact for FY24 was $277,000. For FY25, it goes up to $421,000. That's the difference from FY23, and $612,000 is for FY26. The difference from FY26. So my recommendation is the town that the select board approve.
Thank you for that, that's very, just explain again a little bit more on the lateral movement. So we're restricted now, that there's a lateral.
If you want to take a lateral, they have to be from a civil service department to a civil service department. You can take a lateral from a non-civil service department. So it does restrict who you can take. In terms of recruiting, as Bob said, you have to take the exam, you have to get on a list. The list 15 years ago was multiple pages of officers. Now you're lucky if it's multiple officers. I think the last list we have is 8, 10 candidates. So our candidate pool's dwindling, our ability to go out and look for people because the civil service is limited. So we can go to a better pool, we can open it up more, and then we can compete more with some of the other departments around us, which is much nimbler outside of civil service than we can now.
Bob, Jim, incredible work. You did a great job summarizing what was, I'm sure, a very, very long process. My question is about your projections and the projections. Do they anticipate just the current staff, or does that only our short?
Does not anticipate additional staff.
No additional staff. So if this does what we want it to do, which is makes our recruitment efforts more successful, we're Second, on top of that, hopefully somewhere we are short staffed.
We wanted to add additional staff, we require additional funds. And with this contract, about 115 all in for the employee.
Yeah.
About 115 all in, that's salary, benefits, for each employee.
For each new hire.
Assuming they're all gonna take health insurance,
And are
which
we ideally looking at 8 still, and in a perfect world?
I can't remember if it was 7 or 8 that the chief requested the last time meeting, but it was in that ballpark. And that's the direct result of the police reform, which has stripped us of our part-time officers that we have in the summertime, which they can't work for us anymore because they don't meet the requirements of a full-time officer.
I'm sure financial forecasting will have a lot of fun with this now.
Questions?
I guess my only question is there any reason why town meeting wouldn't vote in favor of this?
Not that I would see, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean,
And
some
if the
people,
police union has ratified it, then I think that's a good endorsement.
absolutely. Some people just, civil service was, why don't the Penalty Act of 1888,
Right.
and we've always had it.
It had
Keep
its
it.
purpose. It had its purpose, but it's outlived its purpose.
I mean, just,
In most cases.
when I started this business, I think I was in Holbrook, and the civil service rep had 4 communities. And now, one civil service rep has the first half of the alphabet, another has the second half of the alphabet, and someone else has Boston. So they're understaffed, they can't get the exams right. I mean, the fire exam was appealed 8-9 years ago, and it just finally got adjudicated. They threw it on their biannual exam. It's just not, it doesn't work for small towns. It works for cities, it just doesn't work for small towns.
But we're strictly have to get it through town meeting, that's the.
And our interpretation is it was adopted by town meeting, so the minute in which you went in is the minute in which you go out.
Okay, thank
Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bob,
It's thorough.
Bob did the lion's share of the work on this, so he gets the credit for it. It blows up, I get the blame. But Bob, I was in and out of those negotiations, just because of other stuff that was going on. So Bob really just took it and ran with it with Chief Thompson and Deputy Steve have been helping out. The credit goes to Bob again this time. And to the union, they worked really hard with us. They were very cooperative. It was a long negotiation. It was never really a contentious negotiation. We knew where we had to go. We were just trying to find a way to get there together and get it past the union and cross it by this week.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I would love the motion.
Move to approve the collective bargaining memorandum agreement for Mascots Local 462 bargaining unit.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Ms. Harrison, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, Bob's getting the blame too.
Any questions?
All right. Review, discuss, we need Nancy Warner to talk bicycles.
Hello. So it's not just a Nancy project.
And just so I don't get in trouble, just again, name and address, and let's talk about this amazing charge.
Nancy Warren, 25 Bridges Ave, Scituate. So I submitted the charge to you, and from there,
Jeffrey Helm, 22 Technical.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
say it again.
Jeffrey.
Helm, H-E-L-M,
Okay, thank you,
22 Technical.
thank you.
so in summary of this charge, I can kind of break out the groups that we're focusing on. The Iraqs and Roots kind of person, a safe to school person, not person, category. A group that would work to create tourism opportunities in town, work with recreation, create events. There would be people that needed to work with the town itself, make people in town aware of the new routes, get recreation, beach, Scituate Harbor, all involved in planning events. We want to have a point where we deal with this safety and bike education of people in the town. And also promote green bikes, rental bikes, train stations, have a bike co-op, get a mechanic in town, join that. And then maybe explore possible funding through the Mass DOT, there's a quite a bit of money out there in 2026. For bikes and pedestrians each year, 32 million allocated. So that's kind of the big picture, it's a big picture. We looked at some other towns' blueprints for master plans and get some good ideas about how to start and kind of roll out surveying and see where people down are.
Love it. Okay. The last time you were in talking about this, no, it's been fabulous. And some of these new iterations and things you've added in, I think are wonderful. I've talked to some other folks who love e-bikes, some folks behind me that I know, one of the great virtues of them. Questions?
The only question I had, which was in the backup, and thank you for drafting this, I think you did a great job, and a couple of tweaks. I was just a little, I needed some clarity on membership. So it's 7 to 10 members and you identified some liaisons. Are you anticipating the liaisons are within the 7 to 10 members, or are you talking you want 7 to 10 members and the liaisons? I wasn't sure where you were thinking of that.
That's a good question. I'm not really familiar how much.
Well, one thing we were talking about is, in addition to having a specific committee appointed, then it would ultimately be sort of a friendly users advisory group that would be outside of the auspices of the town. We think that's where a lot of that committee work would be done.
But that's what I sense that you want to do, and we've done that with other committees where you know you're gonna need to talk to this group or that group or that group. And you can do it 2 ways, you can appoint them, which is sometimes problematic because you don't always need that one person for all the conversations, you just need them for the record or police or whatever. Or you indicate that they're a liaison, which means they're or advisory, either way, that you have them as a resource to this, as identified as a resource. So that was one thing I think we need to clarify in this so that you know when Lorraine goes to submit, to take applications, is it 7 to 10 members in addition to the liaison folks? We just need to clarify that.
Liaisons generally would be voting members, so it would be 7 to 10 members and then the liaisons.
Right. And we just need to clean that language up.
And just for clarification, what's usually the easier, especially getting off the ground, what's the language, up to 7 members, or what's the?
How many members do you want? Do you want really 10 members?
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
And it's
a lot of inputs.
It is, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, I would say
A lot of
7 to
opinions.
10.
So
Is that-
you wanna,
9 to 7 to 9.
What you need for a quorum,
you wanna
say
set the
massive.
numbers
then you get
so that you know what the quorum is.
Yeah,
Right, that's what I mean, so you.
I would
usually
not
up to
advise
7,
that.
and
And
then
you wanna say 7.
I would say 7 members plus your liaisons.
Yeah, because the liaison would.
10 is just.
Liaisons are full, liaisons.
Well, does
You have
not
to
sound like a
sum-
happy meeting to me.
Right, then you have a quorum of 4.
Yeah, then 4, yeah, because the higher the quorum.
Higher the quorum.
You need
Yeah,
4,
got-
you 2 there.
No, so I'm just need to clarify for Phyllis. You're asking for 7 members?
Yes.
Okay, 7 members. And then liaisons from these other groups.
And then do you
That's
want, oh, I don't know.
I like the 3-year terms.
Yes, flat 3, yes. And then I had a question on the membership. Did it say membership from, because you mentioned different groups you wanted represented. Of those 7 members, do you want like some representation from different, mentioned Bike to Work, Safe Schools, somebody that would know something about safe schools?
Oh, I think
I don't
that,
know.
on 46, I think it says, it's not too, it's like-
Oh,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so I was just
I would
asking what you
suggest
think.
that once you start to specify, you need someone from this group and someone from this group, and so it gets like,
Chaos, yeah.
forget it.
Okay.
You want people who are interested in this topic. And then liaisons are the people that you feel free to call when you've got an issue that needs their help or their input. But you can't expect, if we have any more liaisons in town, we're never home. They're on Zoom all the time. So I feel like a liaison is more an advisor to you or someone you feel you can reach out to, whether it's the police department or the select board, what do we do about this, how do we handle this? So, but my opinion is you want really interested people who are then gonna be willing to take on some of the tasks you've got. And I know that we've had groups in town that have tried to get people from different organizations. And it's just, it gets way too confusing.
Totally agree.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So we're at 7.
so the membership of the Bike Scituate Committee shall consist of 7 members as determined by the select board. So that's, that's the membership.
Yep.
And then we don't have to specify.
Right, yes.
And we don't have to specify liaisons?
No.
No,
No.
we can just say liaison.
You can
Yeah.
They can
liaise.
request assistance from various departments as needed.
Okay.
Some from DPW show up, give the town administrator, no. Especially if Jeff's gonna be there, I won't go with Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, I could speak with Mr. Warner about liaisons, you know, like I don't see anybody on the planning committee.
Right.
You know, you probably want a liaison.
Sure. EDC, we appointed someone last meeting, that would be good.
Just to give you an idea of the daunting task, just be 1 second.
Yeah.
I think it's better, frankly, if the people who you're asking to be the liaisons, that you ask them.
Yeah.
Rather than us appointing them.
Yes.
And if no one on EDC is interested.
Yeah.
That's, you know, because there's nothing worse than having a liaison who never answers you. Or doesn't want to do it, or can't take on yet another liaison position. So, and you may never need someone from whatever committee you think, but I think the more flexibility you have to reach out to people, the better.
Perfect.
Well, and the reality is you can request to be on any of the committee agendas, so if you do want to speak with EDC about a proposal, you just ask the chair to get it on the agenda.
And then just said
Yeah.
something, you see the talk about. Mr. Chair, just briefly, when we met with the state on the safety on the 3A corridor in Cohasset and Scituate, we started heavy turner Bailey, the Cohasset project comes into Scituate, rebuilding of 3A. And there's gonna be a traffic light at Henry Turner Bailey when the project terminates. And the state was very excited to tell us there's gonna be bike lanes on the Cohasset portion of the project.
Right.
We said, what happens when they get to Scituate? What do you mean? Well, then we pedal along this nice bike lane, and it's gonna jump on the 3A. Oh, yeah. So that's kind of some of the stuff they're gonna be dealing with.
Well, that's a good project.
City, yeah, off you go.
And I'm ready to buy it.
We have a motion, and I think we're all comfortable with charge ahead. You excited?
Move to-
It was fun. Charles,
That was
we're
good.
gonna just roll ahead or something. Are you excited about this? There's a lot.
Yes, it is a lot.
We need people excited about this and to jump on board. Love it. A motion with that modification of 7, I guess.
Oh, I thought we just had to approve the bicycles.
Sure.
Oh,
Move to approve the bicycle Scituate committee charge, and thank you for the work, for bringing this to our attention.
Moved, by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Ms. Conley, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous, we have.
Did everyone see what
I asked the recreation director for an update on bike repair stations, where are those? So we have ordered 2 bike repair stations to put in town, and they're metal stands with tools on them, that people can fix their bikes. But they're stuck in they're stuck in the, yeah, get me a ride to work, good luck with that. Who's gonna drive me home after my meeting tonight? They're stuck in the COVID chain, but they're coming.
That's excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Excellent. That's behind, not bad. Who, like, call for this, I don't need to call for it, do I?
Maybe Mike DeMayo?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Right here, right in there.
He's all the way over.
It's got that nice summer tan going.
I know. So
I waved to him Sunday when he went by, but he didn't see me, I was on the beach.
All right, how are you? We're talking about agricultural licenses. All right. Let's where we are?
I think after a 5-year battle with regulations and neighbors and complications, I think we're at the last step. We had conservation last night, we had some questions that were answered by the growers. And in front of you, just looking for a signature for the permits. On Sunday, we're out in Briggs Harbor. We set out the 12 buoys for each of the corner plots, the acre plots, so each farmer has their own colors. Blue, orange, and yellow, which identifies each grower's area. So those are done. It's marked by 4 outer white corner buoys as well, which is marking the whole growing area. Those are pretty visible. Sunday was a nice day, and there wasn't a lot of people out there, to be honest with you. It was pretty quiet out there, so I'm pretty confident with the area that we chose is kind of off the beaten path, and be very little issue with hazardous navigations and things like that. The more and more I'm out there, I'm actually gaining more confidence that this is going to be even better than the pilot program. So I'm pretty happy to be in front of you tonight.
It's all approved at the state level, ready to go.
State's ready. Conservation's done.
Questions, comments?
May I make a comment?
Yes, please.
I would like to thank everyone for persevering. This has been very difficult to everyone. And in particular, I would like to say thank you to Susan Harrison. She led the charge on this. On the board to put her intelligence and perseverance to all the other things that we do, but thank goodness we're here. And I wish the growers all the luck in the world and good seas, whatever you say about it. It's a great thing for this town, and thank you to everyone.
We're definitely miss Susan on the Shellfish Advisory Committee. And then I will say, I'll attest to the 3 grows behind me. It's been 5 years that I got to know them, and they're gonna be great stewards of the harbor and the areas up there. So they're really dedicated into it. It's a pretty big history day up there Sunday in Briggs Harbor. So it's pretty good. It is great for the town.
Deferred and Harrison.
You have a new motion in your packet, in your.
Oh, yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, I would like to say, great day for Scituate. I truly believe it's a great day. And specifically, you know, this is new businesses, green businesses, we're diversifying. You're out there Sunday marking the plots, and I guess my penmanship was required for the event. It was great. Larry's son was in the water, so you saw 2 generations setting up the farm. So it's super exciting, and I cannot wait. I know we're arguing as who's going to be the first to get the first voice. I cannot wait to be those. I know that you're not going to challenge me.
Be my guest.
So, do I get to read the motion?
Oh,
I do,
Oh,
I
no.
will give it to everyone who wants to say anything from the public, though I don't want to delay and just do this motion.
The motion is printed in front of you.
So anyone else
Anyone
want to
wanna
know,
say?
or once? Yes.
I would just like to thank the board and Sue in particular for, again, persevering, and it's been 5 years. The select board members that are no longer here that were a driving force at the beginning, thank you for believing in us. Thank you for, seeing the value in this. It is a great day.
Great. Without further ado.
Oh, yeah, you put your bag up. Okay.
We have a motion.
I do have a motion. I would like to move that the select board endorse the 3 aquaculture licenses that were approved by the board on March 15, 2023 to plant, grow, and take shellfish from the North Scituate waters of the Massachusetts Bay DMF designation MB10, as indicated on a plan on file with the town administrator, shellfish constable, and select board. The license is issued in accordance with compliance of relevant sections of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 130, Code of Massachusetts Regulations, Title 322.15 and Title 322.16, and the Town of Scituate Shellfish Aquaculture License Regulations License Program. Failure to comply with the federal, state, local laws and regulations shall result in a license revocation. License area and coordinates are outlined in each of the following licenses. License 23-01 issued to Jane Davenport of 16 Booth Hill Road, Situate, Mass. 02066, and Gregory Wallingford of 144 Lambert's Lane, Cohasset, Mass. 02025. License 23-02 issued to Michael Cotter of 42 Scituate Road, Scituate, Mass. 02066. License 23-03 issued to Clarence Trowbridge of 392 Tilden Road, Scituate, Mass. 02066. Second.
Motion by.
Third, quick.
Motion by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Ms. Canfield. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous.
Thank you,
License.
District.
Only 5 years. All right, we now have, give us all a quick second to get our books out. We have.
I do, I'll be
Do you want to recess for 5 minutes or? Okay.
Well, yeah, first, declare a recess. 3 minutes?
Just saying 3-minute recess.
We got 3-minute recess while we get our books out. Set all that time.
How are you? Karen, well, how are you? Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you. Thank you. Heather in the room.
This is made out of the bags that you use for restraint.
Next, yeah, very cool. A whole new era.
Yes. All right.
Yes, John.
Recess. Come the worst. I didn't even. Yes.
Keep me here so I can start making it up. This is in tier 4, where they separate grades.
Separate grade, separate tier, all to yourself.
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
We are now reconvening the meeting. So do we have Peter? You're for Road. How are you? Good, how are you? I'm well. The Water Resources Committee, tell us a little bit about yourself, why you want to be on the commission, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. Pete Weaver, I live on 88 Turner Road right now. I grew up in Scituate on Meeting House Lane. Moved out west for a while, came back, have a family now, love living in Scituate. Water Resources Commission is really appealing to me because water, I think everyone would agree, is very important. I think it's something that everyone in the town cares about and is important to strive to do as best as we can. I think my professional and education background helped to make me have at least a qualified opinion for the Water Resources Commission. So I'd like to contribute.
Excellent. Well, I will ask the first question at this time. I'll take it. I usually always ask this, but why now?
Yeah.
You just came back, is there anything particular you say, I really want to dig my teeth into X, Y, Z, that you saw, or is it just a general sense of?
Maybe a little bit of both. I don't know. My personality is like looking for more a lot, so I'd like to give myself a little bit of a challenge, work on something that's a little bit different than like my day to day. So I'd like to be able to do that while making a difference. Maybe since I have 2 kids now, I'm like, this is important for them too. So that could be why. Yeah.
Awesome.
Paul, have you been to or attended, seen any of the Water Resources meetings?
I haven't.
Okay, well, good news
Yeah.
is are they on YouTube? Are they recorded? Some
No,
of our meetings.
One or two of those.
So-
We're face to face.
Okay, so you may have to, do some reading in the minutes to catch up on those.
Yeah.
It's very active of recent years and probably need even more active, so we would like to have, the younger people in town come in, especially with young children, because it does matter.
Yeah,
Are
absolutely.
you related to Kevin?
I am. I am one of his young children.
Yes, because he was very active on the billboard
Yep.
issue, so I think I don't even know if I met him in person, I talked
Yeah.
on the phone.
Yeah.
So, well, good.
Yeah, they're relatable.
Activism continues.
Yeah.
That's great.
Karen asked my question, and so you got young kids, and typically the meetings are every other week, and then there's summer.
Yeah.
And that you're comfortable with that, and you're professional response, and more importantly,
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, so there are 2 openings, and 2 applicants have been on it, and Mr. Goodrich is right, this is a group that's been working hard for many years.
Yeah.
It's a good idea to get some background reading done first.
Yeah.
So the yearly, once a year update, those are going to
Yeah.
September, the next one's gonna be in September. September. Yeah, in September. Any questions? Again, wonderful if you haven't met, Kristen, go back and talk to him after, and,
Sure, yeah.
We typically vote after we get all the minutes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
thank you. Kristen.
Yes, I will.
Kristen Jamsky. There she is. Just your, we have it for the record, name, address,
Sure.
and again, about yourself, why Water Resources,
Okay, Kristen Jamsky at 317 Gannett Road.
And I fell in love with Scituate 24 years ago when I first visited and lived in Boston. And family circumstances brought me to Atlanta, and 1 year turned into 18. And so, near the end of COVID, I said, I need to go. And so I came back with the intention of staying 3 months during the summer. I never left and bought a house. So I love this town and I want to get more involved. And why water? I care about protecting our natural resources, water being one of them, but and in fact, I actually think you helped me carry my rain barrels in my car.
Possible.
Yeah, it's apparent in how I live, it's apparent in my yard. I am very lucky to have found the place that I live. I feel great responsibility because it's surrounded by wetlands. So this is just another way that
We kind of answered the why now, but I just want to follow up. Have you attended any meetings or gone back to some of those yearly updates or seen things online or anything? Tell me.
Yes, I started checking out the commission a few months ago and I've attended the last 3 meetings. So I'm aware of what's going on, the form coming up, and so you're still in. Yes.
Questions?
Well, maybe I'd ask, you seem to have a communications background. How would you think you could help the Water Resources Committee mission with communications?
Well, the good thing about my background is that I am industry agnostic. And so, I've been a consultant and I can come in, quickly learn and communicate the priorities. I think the other thing that I offer, not being a lifelong resident, is objectivity. Yeah. Good question, yes.
Comfortable? Are you comfortable? Comfortable?
I'm so excited, we've said it every time, I know it's gonna happen because we talked about everything today is, I think the silver lining of COVID is we'll have more time and there have been extraordinary people to raise their hand out of the town, so thank you all for being really strong. I appreciate it, coming home, thanks for coming home. Thank you.
So, I'm gonna break the protocol a little bit. We can't do this with every committee, but since you folks are here, and there's some other committees with more folks to interview, but sometimes you don't get to hear. I'm comfortable with having a motion.
Yes.
So you, we have a motion to appoint, just find people.
Move to appoint,
Please.
move to appoint the following individuals for a term of 3 years until a successor's name, Peter Leeper to the Water Resources Commission and Kristen Jansky to the Water Resources Commission.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, second by Ms. Conlon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Welcome to Water Resources. Bruce, grab them the way out.
Put them to work.
Let's get them to work.
Bruce has a lot to teach you.
On behalf of the Water Resources Commission.
Thank you, Bruce.
Now looking for Bonnie Morrissey, who'd like the animal control for you. You got this big book and I had to find
Number
3, thank you, sorry.
This is system.
There it is. If you don't mind, just tell us about yourself, and name and address for the purpose.
Bonnie Morrissey, 28 Emma Place. Been in Scituate since 2007. And I am the vet tech at the Scituate Animal Shelter now. Been there for a year and a half. Before Scituate Animal Shelter, I worked for the NYS Group Boston for 19 years. And I feel like I had a pretty good experience doing
very specific and very qualified.
I've worked with several different towns around South Shore, Cape Cod, Boston, Bristol County, several different animal control officers, different animal shelters, and a lot.
So it's very difficult. Very difficult job. It's very hard. Well, thank you for that work, because it's unbelievable what you need to do. This is a tough assignment. Questions? Yes.
Well, the only question I have is, it is a tough assignment, and the board doesn't, it's not a very active board, luckily.
I don't know too much about
Yeah.
how this works, so I have some questions too, like,
Yeah,
what's the
so
commitment?
fortunately, really, I mean, it's been correcting, since him to be the lead for a long time, is, and I'm the new liaison to it, is, should there be an animal, for the most part, the animal control board has the responsibility of assessing the risk of that animal in the community. And sometimes those decisions have to be made, and you work in a facility that doesn't have to make those choices. Are you comfortable with those responsibilities?
Yes.
That about sums it up. We have dangerous dog hearings, things like that.
Chickens and good.
And your question about commitment, I mean, thankfully, it's not been, we've not had many.
Is it kind of like on an as needed?
As needed basis.
Okay.
So the natural resource officer will let us know that he's had a complaint and wishes us to have a hearing. And we'll have a hearing and deliberate and issue orders based upon what we think the disposition of the animal should be.
Questions or is there something?
No, I just thank you, it's thank you for volunteering, it is, as everyone knows, not an easy job, but hopefully you won't be called upon too many times to, you know.
Yeah, it's very specific
Yeah, yes, yeah, and
duty, and I feel like not a lot of people want to.
but I think the town tries to work it out.
Yeah.
And no one wants the ultimate disposition.
But the community
Be
needs.
negative, but the community needs to be protected, as do the animals.
Yeah.
So thank you.
I'm just curious, it says 5 members. Is the animal control officer considered a member?
Yes, those are all voting members.
So the animal control members are voting members, so is the town administrator?
Yes.
Interesting.
We had a problem filling it, so the board made Jim and Kevin Cafferty get on.
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
that's-
Okay, because it says 5 members, 1 opening, but it's just like
Yeah.
they're all town employees.
You have to have it, you have to have
Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
We have 2 people that are not town.
It's two
Right,
residents.
too, yeah. Okay. No, I was just curious.
Oh, yeah.
It's the map.
That was a good one, so we will have to.
So does that mean ideally you want 5 people that are not town employees?
More than happy to come off.
No, I'm more curious.
It's a hard job to.
Yeah, you're supposed, it's
Yeah.
supposed
It's
to be,
hard,
Okay.
so it's worse than the bylaw review committee.
yeah.
We had a
Director of Public
complaint,
Works.
there was no one on the board. We had empty boards.
Yeah.
So we'll be happy to fire.
No, we've been fortunate that we've been able to build it back. We've done a lot of outreach to try to recruit some people. And hopefully they're
Excellent people,
excellent people.
very qualified,
But-
excellent people.
Yeah, but if somebody else were interested,
Oh,
there would be an opening.
Jim
Okay,
already volunteered.
alright.
Kevin, I'm sure would also volunteer.
I will break
Okay.
protocol again on this one, because I don't think, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Need a two-part motion. Just to check.
Well, I will let you go ahead with that, I'm not on that page.
I would move that we remove Mr. Boudreau as a member of the animal control board.
No.
What?
No, we don't have to.
We have, there's one opening,
Oh, there is one.
and that means there would be 5.
Sorry, Jim, tried.
You can't let him off.
Move to appoint the following individuals for term of this following individual for a term of 3 years or until a successor is named by Morrissey to the animal control board.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, second by Ms. Conlon. All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Welcome to the board.
All right. Number 4. Kelly Bauer, number 4. Beautification. How are you?
Hello, well, and you?
Well. You know this very well, the name and address for the record, and then tell us why beautification.
Kelly Bauer, 28 Edgar Road. Some of you may remember when I first came up from the Beach Commission, I had also checked the Beautification Commission. And I was encouraged to join both at the time, but I wasn't exactly sure of the workload. But, you know, I've always regretted not doing it. And, I love the work they do. I love all the members of the committee I've been in contact with. I think to get to know them better and be a bigger part of it. I've maintained and adopted a lot for the last 3 years now. And also been very involved with Ship Shape Days and my favorite days of the year. And so I'd like to just be more of those efforts that we're doing.
Love the adopt a lot. Yes.
You're not quitting the beach commission, are you?
Not yet.
Oh, good.
I was
Oh,
I'm up in December and we'll decide that. I told Lorraine, I tried to lock myself on. That's
You're gonna have time for both, as you know, there, I mean,
I don't know,
Steve runs
remember, I'm
a
also
tight
on
ship.
the Sister City Cape Verde Commission, so, I don't know if it will limit it. I think I can handle it.
She's amazing. Bruce Closer is, she's the best. She's
She's
got so much energy, she does, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She's on all our beaches and everything.
That's guys. That's cute. One person.
Yeah, we worked with you, we don't need to interview, we know you so well, and I think that this committee with beaches and seafood trash is, they're all very synergistic, so if you think you can handle it, get it right.
I'm here so far, see how it goes.
Well, the beautification commission has become more and more active over the past few years, so I'm glad you did your hand up to volunteer for it, and thank you for all your work done on the beach commission so far.
Thank you. Promise to keep it up.
Thank you.
Comments, questions? We have 2 openings, just so you know, and we have a nice applicant right here. And Saracen, any questions, or you good, or
Yeah, how many of these?
Two.
2. We have. Oh, beach, I'm sorry, I was reading.
beach
Beach,
beautification?
beautification.
No worries. Are we comfortable moving
Yes.
forward? Excellent.
Move to appoint Kelly Bauer to the beautification commission for a term of 3 years.
Moved by Ms. Conlon, second by Canfield, excuse me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Welcome
All
aboard.
right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now we have to go to some of the ones we probably won't be able to appoint tonight because there's other people in other meetings. So I apologize. We have to possibly wait, but I am gonna look for Adria Gallagher to North River Commission. You.
Well, how are you? Very Gallagher, 54 Clyde Road. And I am the current, well, Jody Norton retired from the commission. I think it was December. So I've been the Scituate representative since December. And I am looking to continue to be on the board representing Scituate in order to protect Massachusetts' only scenic road.
Excellent.
And I want to, I want to thank the board for supporting us. I know so many folks with the funding, wrote some letters and called up to the State House, so funding continues to be a problem, and that's another reason I want to stay on the committee. It's not a line item, it's always an earmark. And, it makes it tough. We have a fabulous administrator, works really well, the rest of the towns work well together. But, I'd like to stay on and see that through and make sure it is funded.
And you've been involved for years, is that correct, for
6.
6 years now, okay?
And Joey was a great mentor. A lot of it is historical, what you've done with other folks and how big floats are allowed to be and where they're allowed. And so Joey was good enough to mentor me, and I think I can do a really good job for Scituate representing us.
Excellent. Questions?
No, just David, thank you for the work and getting ready to take this kind of leadership. I had the pleasure of working with you for a while. My first community service for this town was with you. And there's been questions we could remind of this, and this is a great commission that needs somebody strong to represent us. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry for a long time as well. After old PTO days.
So Lorraine, there's a possibility to have alternates too, is that correct? Or-
Well, as Adrian mentioned, she was the alternate to Joby Norton, and then when Joby retired, Adrian stepped up and took that position. She was voted in last year. She had been an alternate. It's not in the bylaws. You could certainly continue to have an alternate or 2 alternates. One of the people that applied has withdrawn his application, so we have Mr. Conway, Mr. Lalone, who you'll be speaking with tonight.
You have been an alternate, what are your thoughts? We've got to make that decision if one alternate's not alternates. What are your thoughts? Having been one, pros, cons, just curious.
I think it's critical, because there is so much, the order itself's not balance. Pages maybe but it's the interpretation of that and the application of it fairly across the board for all towns. It's one of those where historical knowledge, I think, helps, and having somebody mentor you from the town that you're in from that perspective, I think it is really helpful. It was for me. Hopefully Joe was willing to do it, and he shared a lot of knowledge. I think it makes me a better representative for Scituate. Because the idea is to enforce, but work with people so that there's, everybody wins. That's really the theory that we work with.
Excellent, that's helpful, that's very helpful.
So, and every other town has 1 member and 1 alternate. That's very structured, yes.
So, just to answer the question, so do you think it would be okay to have 2 alternates for Scituate?
I think people are willing to put their time in. It's rare that one of them can't make the meeting to be the voting member. But if there's that interest and you folks think that that's, I don't see any downside to it.
I was just gonna say, I don't either, I think.
And there's other than the fact that it's not keeping what the other towns do, but sometimes you need to lead the way. And it puts in a better succession plan.
Right.
So, whatever the board
We
decides.
have 2 alternates, one may decide they don't have the time or aren't as interested, and then you still have one, very solid person.
Yeah, it'd be more
Yeah, we have.
the mentoring and the coordination of the 2. So as long as she's
Right.
So are we moving to reappoint Adrian to the Northwood Commission?
If that's your choice, if that's your pleasure, yes.
So then we still have to hear from Kenneth and John, there's Ken and John here. Ken and John here, so let's,
But they're
Ken and John.
looking to be alternates, right? Am I right, according to this?
That would be the recommendation.
Has to be another,
Well,
The recommendation is to appoint Adria back in her position. And then there would be the alternates to interview after.
Let's hear from the other candidates and then, yeah. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, I
Thank you.
appreciate it. So let's hear, we have so much paper in front of us, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Kenneth Conway, come on up. Sorry. Yours is yours. Resident since '83, this is you, okay, got it. Please, again, state your name, address, why you're interested, and tell us a little bit more about yourself and your background.
Okay, I'm Ken Conway. Own several properties in Scituate. My wife and I have been married 54 years, so we're strategic partners and long-term partners. That's how I look at everything that I get involved in. As I said, we moved up here in '83. I was educated at Rutgers and Dartmouth. Built one $4 billion company, led that for about 10 years. Then did 2 genomic research companies. One was successful, one not so much. I have the time and the energy to do this. I retired when I was 55, so I've been doing volunteer work in many different ways. I was on the Scituate Conservation Committee with Michael Clark, who was an outstanding person, did lots of great things. Helped him get the walkway from Dunkin' Donut up into the town, much to the chagrin of, luckily none are on the board right now, some of these selectmen wanted to take the money that we raised, and that went through. You know, the word was, oh, nobody walked on that pathway. Well, the day it, opened, when we got it paid, there were people on it, and now it's a great, asset to the town. I've been to every meeting that we've had since last year. I've read back about 2.5 years already on everything that's been going on. I'm interested mainly because what I learned on the Conservation Committee was the way that you really help the town is you don't just have the meetings where people come in and ask for something. You have to have a strategic plan. And I think that's something that I could help the North South River Group actually accomplish, besides taking care of all the issues and questions that people have. So I'll leave it there for start.
That's great. So many well-qualified, amazing people. So first of all, thank you again for stepping up again, for being on the committees. Do your research and your homework, talk about what's happening. Open up some questions.
I answered all the questions I have. Thank you.
well, I guess my question is, are you willing to take an alternate position?
I hadn't thought about that because I didn't know it was announced that way.
Okay, all right.
I usually like to be a leader, but I'm willing, I'd be willing not to.
Yep, okay,
So it's really up to you guys.
okay, thank you. Thank you for the input, but
That was
quite an accomplishment.
that was
I know
really
what
Michael
you're
Clark
talking
that
about.
made that happen.
There was a lot of skepticism, but another case of perseverance for town.
Questions?
I don't, my questions were already asked.
Yeah, so this is always we have so many fabulous people. We have someone who's up for renewal, one opening, one renewal, and that's right, one opening
One alternate opening
and one alternate.
and one renewal.
But did I hear we could do 2 alternates? Do that?
That's at the pleasure of the board.
Okay, I'm just trying to clarify what I.
This particular is not in the bylaws, so there's no rules or regulations.
Okay.
All right.
Can I add one thing?
Of course,
So-
yes.
So having gone to, quite a few meetings recently, I definitely think you need at least the primary and the alternate.
Alright, so definitely an alternate.
That seems to work very well for the North-South River. And because you want to have the town's vote.
Right.
So if somebody can't show up,
But-
that's how you get the vote still there.
Perfect, alright, so. I think we're all, we should do at least one, but, great, well, thank you for coming in.
Thanks for your time.
Great. All right, yeah, John.
Good evening.
Good
How
evening.
are you?
Great, thanks, how are you? I'm John Malone, 72 Moreland Road.
More about yourself?
Okay, and the
Why not?
benefit of, anticipating what the questions are,
Yeah.
why am I here and all that. I have so I've been here, a Scituate resident for 10 years. And we live up in Third Cliff and we see a lot of what goes on in the spit on the river, we kayak, we fish. Done a lot for the striper population by not catching them, you're welcome. And so I've kind of formally helped the river over the years. You can write a check, or you can, a lot of, trash pickup, or we bought a couple more trash than fish in my kayak and things of that nature. And now it's, it dawned on me the opportunity to kind of formalize that support, to be kind of an ambassador to the community, to kind of, we already talked a lot about compromise, and how to enforce rules, make all parties feel like they stayed within the letter of the law, and feel good about the outcome. It wasn't exactly what they wanted. And I felt some of my past background work-wise, and kind of just energy, time, and passion for the environment, and for waterways and things, seemed like a really good fit. Professionally, I'm responsible for about a 100-person team that does technology outsourcing engagement for one of the large banks in the area. I have a team that I'm responsible for, I have a client that we're responsible for, and it's constant clashing, right? The client wants what they want, I need to protect the team, the company, make sure that in the middle, there's some compromise where we fulfill what we need to do for the client, but we're not burning our people out. And I think I take that sense of fairness and compromise and advocacy for both parties, to a board like this, where again, it's something I'm passionate about and care about, I can advocate for.
The same question about,
Sure.
have you watched the work that has been done, or looked into the research or the advocacy that's been done on behalf of this commission yet? I'm raising this just tonight. Or how familiar are you with the commission? That's the way to phrase it.
I'm familiar with it as an enforcement arm of kind of rules and regulations. I've read the bylaws because at one point I wanted to talk to somebody who was a voter who was going too fast and violating the rule. I want to make sure I had it right. I'm not, so I'm familiar enough with the bylaws. I've read some meeting minutes because I've been curious and sometimes it's situational. Candidly, I've not gone to any meetings. Have probably been similarly focused on the North and South River Watershed Association as well. So it's been kind of fragmented and one actually realized there were two entities. So I'm part of what I like about the potential to be an alternate is you kind of absorb that learning curve while also contributing.
No, thank you, so many, again, both qualifications, all these folks care is amazing. Questions you good, or you, yeah? All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so one. One opening, one, so Lorraine,
Yes.
it's just. Three people, we could, if we wanted to, one is a full term and 2 alternates, is that right?
Correct.
What does the board feel?
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So the 2 alternates, in the event the member doesn't show up, who determines which alternate steps up?
Good question.
I think.
But one is a first alternate, one is
One's
a
in
second.
1 and 2, like we do on other boards.
First alternate, second
That's how we do it on zoning for ancestry.
I think that's a great suggestion.
And good point.
Comfortable with that?
It's almost 9 o'clock, when we're almost all done.
Can I have an arm rest?
There you go.
No, I think that,
Rock, paper, scissors?
yeah, I just policy wise, it's usually better to have it that way so that, we know that it's a phone tree situation, basically. But there's nothing preventing anyone from presenting the meetings, is there?
No.
Right.
They're open to the public and.
Question of who can go.
Marinate on it some more.
Exactly.
Well, I'm personally inclined to renew Adria because she served as an alternate and willingly stepped up to be the representative. And then I'm more than happy to be Kenneth Conway as the alternate, and if Mr. Milan would mind being the second alternate, I'd be willing to make that motion. It's agreeable. I would second it if something in that motion.
Saracen, how do you feel
No,
about that?
I agree with
Do we all work together and we'll try to help the river, is that
Yeah.
before we go forward and we're all,
This is one of the rare job opportunities we don't have to turn away the good people.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're in a situation.
it's not the people that go at some
Right?
point, it's all,
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable with it.
All right.
I'd love to see that. Everyone,
I would agree.
more great people in the room is better.
Yes. Move to appoint the following individuals for a term of, we only get 1 year.
It's only 1-year terms, unfortunately.
Well,
We'll see.
we'll see you again.
See how it works out.
Or until a successor is named. Adria Gallagher to the North River Commission, Kenneth Conway to the, as the alternate to the North River Commission,
First alternate.
and John Malone as the second alternate to the North River Commission.
Second?
Motion by Ms. Conley, second by Ms. Canfield, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous.
Very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be sending you appointment letters.
Thanks.
Time
Thank
gets
you very much.
sworn in.
Thank you.
Now on to the beach commission, correct? And is Mark here? Mark, how are you? To warn the beach commission folks, we may not have everyone here, so we may not be able to.
We have some we have to iterate next time, just
Yeah, we have some people already next time.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry.
can't vote even if
Yeah.
it's after.
So, I think
Yeah,
name, address, like, about yourself, why, and like why now.
yeah, sure. So my name is Mark Choquette. I live at 27 Cedar Hill Lane. Relatively new resident of Scituate, been here about 1.5 years. Yeah, I think the big thing for me is, coming to a new town, I really want to try to get involved and meet new folks and give back as best I can, the time I have. I grew up pretty much on the beach in Rhode Island in Narragansett and went to college out in Southern California and lived pretty much at the beach there. And I think when we wanted to look for a place to live, the beaches in Scituate were a big draw for us. And I've been working my current job at REI. I've been there for about 6.5 years. And obviously recreation is and outdoor life is super important to me. So we're big believers in stewardship and giving back as well at REI. So I felt like this is a great place for me to volunteer my time and help out with outdoor recreation and
preserving the environment of the beach. So me and my 2-year-old are pretty regulars at Peggy as well, and our dog, so, within the right hours. Yeah.
You knew we were gonna ask that. Yeah, you know the rules, right?
Yes.
Is there anything in particular that you've seen the beach commission do? I know they're working on some signs that should be done, beach access issues.
Yeah.
I really want to sink my teeth into XYZ.
I was reading, I read sort of the mandate of the commission online and looked at some of the past meeting notes and things like that, so I'm familiar with a lot of the issues they've been talking about. I wouldn't say I'm coming in with any specific agenda or anything like that. There's no big hot button issues for me, it's more just about, volunteering my time and trying to give back and, try to be objective in my decision making.
Yes, please.
So, thank you for looking at our community and for and trying to support it in this way. One thing that in this commission particularly, if it's not that old and hit the ground running and lots of exciting things, one of the things that folks sometimes are frustrated with is all of our, for the most part, our board commission is advisory to this board, because we can't do everything. And they get great ideas and we get do all the groundwork, but then sometimes there's no path forward, either there's no money or conflicts with another priority or whatever, which is frustrating. And I just sort of highlight it in this because there's so much that can be done for the beach commission that expectations are important. It is, an advisory board to this board.
Yeah.
And my favorite, the beach is why, that's why people live here. And I just put that out because I know we have a lot of folks interested in this, that it's very fulfilling and very important work, but it is in the broad advisory as opposed to, okay, we're gonna go out there and do this, this, and this. So I just like to set expectations.
Yeah.
This is so public.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm used to dealing with those types of situations in my current job, in an enterprise company, there's a lot of politics and trying to force your agenda against other priorities. So, and I also think, as someone who's a newcomer, I think it's a good place for me to start and learn, and hopefully contribute more in the future. So.
Yes, I don't want to discourage you from having good ideas, pal.
Yeah, no.
Great, thank you for stepping up. Any ideas about if you could? What would you improve about just let's pick any beach?
I know that they have had food trucks some days at Peggy Beach, but I think maybe a more regular food or drink service like on weekends for people would be a good thing to do. I think signage, I know that that's something they're working on, I think that's great. Those are probably two off the top of my head.
Well, at least one is underway, the other one is, in my opinion, doable. Recruit the trucks.
Oh,
Yeah.
I went to a good one.
Well, semi-lights.
Well, I don't know about that one.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Excellent. Oh, great idea.
Questions?
Right.
A lot of SEO work, which is.
Yeah, if you need SEO help, let me know.
Oh, we do.
Jen got our website later.
Yeah,
We'll be calling you for that.
Cool.
But no, again, most fun part, one of the most fun parts is we all these people that have done, so thank you for starting for it, it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, yeah, it's super exciting for me.
Thanks so much, we'll let you know. That way they interview everybody, there's a lot of interest, so.
This will take a couple meetings.
Yeah,
It's okay.
awesome,
Thanks.
Thank you for staying up with us.
That's nice.
All
Now
right,
it's down to a couple here.
next, Chris Mason, thank you for.
Hey, how are you?
Well.
I assumed that was next, that was on the list.
Yes, no,
Just at this point, self-interview.
Yes.
So I'm Chris Mason, I live at 11 Scituate. or 11, Sherman Drive, Scituate. We're relative newcomers as well. We've been here 3 years. We decided to move from South Carolina in the height of COVID to Scituate. My wife's family was very prominent in town, and they have always been involved, and she wanted to come back to her hometown here, and so we made the move, and it's been a very good move for us. Obviously, moving during COVID, it was kind of hard to get involved. But, you know, I've got 2 little kids, and we've always been outdoors, always been involved with beaches. We've obviously in the Carolinas, we on the beach all the time. I grew up on the beach. And we've been married 10 years. We would always come up here for a couple of weeks to spend time at the beaches here. So I've always enjoyed the beaches. I feel like the beaches of Scituate are one of the amazing natural resources we have here. There's, as you said, tons of opportunity to take advantage of it, whether the funding is there or not. I guess is a different story, but I also thought if there's ever a great place for me to get involved that I'm passionate about, it's beaches. So I jumped in and throw my hat and volunteer my time.
All right, so who has nicer beaches?
This is a trick
Don't
question.
make me answer.
That's as bad as I'm saying, that would be rich and rural.
That's the better beach, you're right, you're right. Is there anything in particular, like, the beach, you said, oh, I really wish mine had X, or Egypt didn't have this, or whatever?
Sure, yeah, there's a lot. I think for me, if there's one thing, it's accessibility. So my son has autism, and he doesn't have a big issue getting around, but, you know, we spend a lot of time with children with special needs, and if I were focused on one, mine would be my top, you know, the stairs in mine, and obviously you're struggling. The ramp, you know, depending on which storm we had is either covered or not covered, and yeah, I've seen a fair amount of elderly people trying to get, you know, 3 feet down from the bottom of the ramp to the beach. I mean, there's plenty of opportunity there, again, whether the funding's there or not. But that's kind of the first thing that steps out. I mean, I love his idea because I have the same idea. I was thinking food truck event at Peggotty would be a great place to do that because there's room for it. Egypt, you could do it as well. So.
Always throw fried clams anywhere.
Well, the Emily's down on the pier now.
I know, it's fabulous. Any questions? This is great.
No,
The only thing, another comment I want to make is that we do have a lot of people interested in this question, and I alluded to the North River. If you're not appointed, there's no reason you can't show up and be a participant in the committees. They're all on the committees, people are encouraged. And sometimes people will do that, they'll say, oh, I didn't get appointed, and move on. But if it's, you know, we have turnover every year. So if it's something that you really are interested in, you know, whether you're appointed or not, you know, please know that opportunity is there.
Great.
Well, thank you for.
Yeah, which I love hearing about access and
Yeah.
accessibility is huge, so.
We can, it's something we can always do better.
Totally agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
This goes to
John
Mr.
J.
Sullivan
Sullivan.
with the green tie on.
Not to be confused with
John
the,
J. Sullivan.
Are you Mr. Sullivan?
I am.
I thought you might be.
there's another John Sullivan currently on the committee.
John L.
Yeah.
Sullivan.
John L. Sullivan, and this would be John J. Sullivan.
But we got K1 and K2.
All right.
Okay. We make it work.
I
That's
like
what
that,
Mr.
that
Sullivan
was
said.
our note in the file.
Mr. Sullivan said we can make it work.
Do
He
not
said,
be
okay.
confused with that.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Sullivan from 64 Townsend Road. And I've lived here with my wife for most of my life. And we raised our daughter here. And, you know, just being of Irish descent and my great-grandfather came from Cork, you know, I'm kind of interested in this commission when I saw the opening. And so I thought I'd apply now that I've retired from a position as an IT leader. So I have a lot of time on my hands now.
Background, very impressive. The fact that you know Gaelic is amazing as well. Is it Southern Gaelic or is it not? How about
It's,
that?
yeah, it's officially called Irish,
Irish.
because there are 3 different Gaelic languages, so it's like saying I speak Romance language. If you say Gaelic.
I feel
David
like,
knows the history of it,
yeah,
so.
I feel foolish now.
It's Irish, Scottish, and Manx are the other.
Scottish said to Gaelic too.
Yes.
Something good for that. All this. Well, it's a fabulous committee. So you've seen some of the, have you been to any of the events or seen things in the?
I have not at this point. I was
Yeah.
very busy working up until
Yeah.
last year. Certainly have time now. I discovered I actually had some business dealings with Siobhan Hunter, who's the chair, in the past, so.
No, have you gone back to look at any of the minutes or anything to say, hey, this is,
I
something that I'm
have, I
interested in?
didn't see a lot of meat in there, so I, if I were to be appointed, or even if I wasn't, then I'd like to go back and, see if I can get some more information on things that have occurred in the past and ideas that people have bandied about.
The surface says, not necessarily, need to have done this, but have you been over to court? Have you seen, I mean.
I have,
yeah,
yes.
I'm assuming. Your
Yes, I
interest
have.
seems very, thorough. So tell them a little bit more about, you see there's family history there or something?
Yes, yeah, my great grandfather came from a town called Mill Street Court in County Cork. We always thought it was a street called Mill Street in the city of Cork, but it's actually a town called Mill Street. And so at the time I had gone over there, I hadn't known about that information, but my sister has since been there and wandered around the town and tried to find some bits of family history. But, my family and I, drove the whole, south coast from Dublin to up to Westport on the west coast of Ireland. And so we, went right through Cork and stayed there for many nights. Cork City and town that's nicknamed Eugene, the Little Nest. Trying to think of what the official name of it is right now, but Kenmare. But yeah, it's very interested in the culture, the music, food, and I like to see relationships with that area strengthened. I think I mentioned I play a couple of instruments too, so so I have that as part of my background. None of them well, by the way, but at least I'm familiar with the music and I've played quite a few.
Fabulous.
Well, I just want to say that it is an extremely active and vibrant committee, and we today received notice of a great number of visits this fall from different, both our sister city folks and the Clement County sister county, I guess they have.
And then there are the trails.
And the trails, of course, Irish Heritage Trails works very closely, because we have sites here that are highlighted on that, and retiring member Brenda O'Connor was instrumental in that. So there's a lot coming in the fall. So if you have time and inclination, there will great opportunities to really do Great.
Do you know any of the other members of the committee?
Just Siobhan, but and I know I've run sort of tangentially into the other John Sullivan, I believe, but I don't think I've ever met him in person.
So there's one opening in this position on this board.
Right, so,
7 renewals, which is a good sign.
yes, that's a great sign.
Yeah.
The controller.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Move to appoint the following individual to term of 2 years. Is that because it's a renewal?
No, it's 2
Rolling 2
rotating
years.
years.
Okay, sorry. For the clarification. Move to appoint the following individual for a term of 2 years or until the successor's named. John J. Sullivan, now known as J2, to the Scituate Sister City Ireland Day.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Ms. Conley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Decision unanimous. Welcome.
Or do you say it in
I was gonna-
whatever language it is?
Should have Googled
Cut 'em
it.
off.
There we go. All right.
I'll be in touch.
All right. All right, we're now, do those. Actually, before we get on to the DPW contracts, we have two renewals while we're doing this, two renewals for the.
I would heartily recommend renewing Betty to
He is the blend.
To Van Kuren, which I know I said are on the for workers and maintenance, to Van, thank you. To Sister City, she's been so generous with her time and instrumental to the committee. And Ann Mullen as well, I'm sorry, I didn't realize they were both of them were up for all.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Ms. Conley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, next on the agenda, DPW contracts. You just give us 1 second so we get rid of these books on the paper and. Hold on. Talking ethanol first.
Sure.
You ready? We're not ready. All right, methanol.
This is a chemical used at the sewage treatment plant as part of the denitrification process. The chemicals are put out to bid by the Eastern Massachusetts Chemical Bid Cooperative. So several towns, but many towns in the area all use this as an ability to purchase the methanol. There is a slight decrease from last year per gallon rate. The expended annual cost is around $300,000 for this year.
Those words have not come out of a decrease.
And the conveyance portion.
Right,
Any decrease.
because there's an index that is followed as well.
Of the index block. All right, obviously, use this every year, we need this, love the fact that there's a decrease. Questions, concerns, comments?
How many bids were there? I didn't see that. We know that they were low bid.
Yeah, typically,
Oh, we're doing 2 others.
for methanol, there's usually a string of 30 or 40 chemicals and people pick and choose what they carry, so that's what they do.
Thank you.
And just for education, so this Eastern, are there other big cooperatives, and I'm not great as great that are getting decreased, I'm just curious if there's other.
Question, you know, I
Yeah,
think
see
ABC,
one.
I was just gonna say,
I have no idea if there's a regional one or whatever, just. What else? Can I get a motion?
Can I ask one question?
Of course.
Just, I know it's like a small question, the liquidated damages in the contract is like $10 a day. Is that really, like if we don't receive this, is that really kind of the, how we would be harmed, $10 a day? Just seems kind of arbitrary.
is that the cooperative contract?
Yes, so.
No, it's our contract, but we tend to put in.
Is that just our regular contract? If we don't receive something, we charge people $10 a day? It seems-
It varies by contract, in some cases, vendors will not sign if the liquidated damages are too severe, but there are some contracts where we have $1,000 a day liquidated damages. If something is not met. So for the chemicals, we have other places to go.
So it's less, is that why we could go somewhere else? So if the chemical didn't show up, is that always really gonna help us?
The terms of the cooperative may help us. One of the benefits of working with the cooperative is they have terms in their bid. So should our vendor not be able to supply the essential chemical before we run out and have process issues, we would be able to purchase from the other chemical suppliers that participated in the bid. And our vendor would be obligated to essentially make us whole on the difference.
Okay, I like that answer better than, like, it
Yeah.
just doesn't seem like that is gonna solve any of our problems.
That's a great catch.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, please.
Move to award contract to Universal Solutions USA to provide methanol and unit price per month Methanex MNDRP index plus $1.70 per gallon, and annual estimated cost is $300,000.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Harrison, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, off to,
Can I do my drive, sir?
of course, I love that.
This is used by the water treatment plant. This is used to regulate the pH of the water and prevent corrosion in pipes. This was also purchased through the Eastern Massachusetts Chemical Cooperative bid. This had a slight reduction as well in the price per gallon. Although due to our small containments at all the wells, we're below the 3,000 gallon typically for delivery. So they give two bulk prices based on the delivery size. Less than 3,000 gallons and then greater than 3,000 gallons.
So this is reflected, all right, so the unit price went up last year, last fiscal year, but this year it's a small decrease. Is that what's the, understand that, so it went up, but now it's going back down, right?
534 last year, it's 521 this year as a unit price.
So we're heading in the right direction. This is pH for water.
Correct.
Move to award a contract to Borden and Remington Corporate Fall River to provide potassium hydroxide at a unit price of $5, 21 cents, 22 cents per gallon for bulk deliveries less than 3,000 gallons, and $4.99, almost $5 for bulk deliveries of more than 3,000 gallons for an aggregate amount not to exceed $350,000 for fiscal year 2024.
Motion by Ms. Conley, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Harrison, all those in favor?
Aye.
It is unanimous. Two. Water rates. Time, too.
Yes, back on track.
Mr. Chairman, shall we do sewer first so that we'll can run along home?
Oh, but I
We can discuss sewer first, just what I was thinking.
Awesome. Let me start with good news. Good news is that the second presentations are always much shorter than the first presentations.
Yes.
So we'll move along. So based on our discussions at the last meeting on sewer rates, you asked us to take a look at other ways of generating revenue apart from rate increases. Just as a reminder, the other revenue sources would be septic fees, drain layer license fees, and connection fees. Well, as we discussed at the last meeting, a 1% increase in rates of the base rate and usage would amount to approximately $25,807. So assuming the fiscal 23 year-to-date gallons, there is a possibility to increase the per gallon cost from 8 cents a gallon from the current cost of 7.5 cents a gallon. This would potentially generate $24,547 additional dollars, so about 1% of what a rate increase would do. On the flip side, a 6.2% shift of users to another municipality to avoid the rate increase would negate that additional revenue. So speaking with Will, he's comfortable going up to the 8 cents per gallon. Because part of the positive for that is that our flows are increasing, but they can only accommodate so much. So rather than turning people away, it may curb that increase. So even keeping it at the fiscal 23 level, you could see a positive on that. So the last rate increase for this was October 3rd, 2018, when we went from 7 cents to 7.5 cents. Marshfield currently is at 7 cents. Drain layer license fees, this is not a big money maker, but it is something we wanted to look at. Right now, there are 19 drain layers who have licenses in the town. Assuming you look at the screen, you can see the different municipalities and what the current rates are, and we're really far behind most municipalities. Many of them have adopted a similar rate structure for new or renewal. So whether it's a new or renewal, it's the same amount, and this is an annual fee. So if we were to increase our drain layer license to $200 for new and $200 for renewal, that would generate about $3,300 or 0.13% on a rate increase. Would this drive drain layers away? Not necessarily, because if you look at any of our neighboring towns, we wouldn't be really in excess of anyone other than Marshfield. So if they wanted to work here, they have to have a license. So sewer connection fees, this is something we talked about at the last meeting. Our concern is that it's not a reliable recurring revenue, and the board doesn't have a policy about how many are to be connections are to be awarded annually, and if they were to adopt a policy, would that negatively impact the ability to bring on other areas of town and the expansion of the sewer system. So just looking back, you saw this graphic before. The last 2 years, this year and last year, we would not have made our revenue projection had it not been for a one-time pickup, large pickup from one from a condo association that joined, the other was from the Drew company. In 2024, right now, we have an estimate of $380,000. The other thing I want to remind the board is, as we look at the fee structure that we have for this, in fiscal 22, fiscal 23, there were 22 connections, but half of them were at a grandfather rate. So even if the board accepts a new rate, it's only for developments that are approved after this time. So it's going to be years before you start to see it on a regular basis. And that's the same in the water enterprise fund as well. We still see 6,500 connection fee, not the newer connection fees for grandfather projects. So this is looking at all the different communities and what they charge. And as you can see, it's all over the place. Cohasset charges by the bedroom. Hingham has 2 phases of development, so they charge depending on which phase you're connecting to. And then they assume a 4-bedroom house, and anything beyond that, they charge additional. Kingston, it's just a small fee. And Marshfield is a small fee. They have no flat fee in addition to it. And I did call and verify that with them. Rockland, as we mentioned, they were going through a major investment in their sewer infrastructure like we had gone through with our water infrastructure. So they've revised all their fees and they're looking at $8,000 per residential unit. And how we define that was more like one bedroom, not by bedroom, but by dwelling. So a single dwelling, a double duplex, a triplex, or what the housing stock is what they were going for. And then they had an additional fee. And then we have our fee, which is a flat $16,000. So if the board wanted to increase the fee, say if there were 10 connections annually at the higher fee, $4,000 additional, if you adopted a $20,000 fee, would generate about $40,000. The concern is that we're already overestimating what we're bringing in for connection fees. So To me, this is more of a revenue neutral, because you probably won't see this fee for a while until the grandfather projects go out. But we did want to bring it to you at the board to ask what the other communities are doing. And as you can see, other than Cohasset, we're probably the second highest right now. It's a little bit all over the map. So what we're trying to make up, as a refresher from the last meeting, was about $250,000. We already knew the fiscal 24 budget, as voted in April, was at a deficit and would have to be addressed with some type of a rate increase. The restoration is to also restore the emergency reserve line that was cut out of the budget, and the chemical increases of approximately $46,000 and the short-term interest of $40,500, which is due to the I&I project starting a little earlier than expected. So that is about a 9.6% base and usage increase if we did nothing else. So these are just what the rate increases have done in the past. So what's our recommendation to you? For your consideration, the recommendation is to increase the septic disposal fees from 7.5 cents per gallon to 8 cents per gallon, increase the drain liner license fee from 75 to 200, the renewal license fee for drain liners from 25 to 200, and then the sewer base and usage charge by 10%. Further, you may want to consider in the future increasing the sewer connection fee from 16,000 to 20,000 to support the ongoing I&I projects, because the I&I projects are also, they're being funded by debt service, which is in the operational budget. Told you would go faster. And then a comparison of the annual sewer bill with that 10% base use increase, we'd be at 910 estimated, which is 4. So it's a significant jump. But it is $7 cheaper than the 27% base charge increase that we provided to you at the previous meeting. Not much, but okay.
Well, thank you. I mean, this is yeoman's work to put all this together, but I mean, it was great to look at some of those other fees and comparisons that are sort of behind on others and.
All over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
It is pretty incredible how different. I mean, $50 in Marshfield for 27 times, 4-bedroom house. But I think it kind of level sets some of them. Whatever, what's the temperature on some of these different fees? I guess we'll talk about the fees first before the rate. What do you think?
Well, I personally didn't see anything so outrageous that we're proposing changing. Nothing seemed like it was a terrible increase. And I'm assuming the base rate 10% is pretty much what we think we need to fund.
That should get us $250,000. That way, if the septic disposal fees drop off,
Yeah.
we're not relying on that 25,000. If they stay steady despite the 5 cent, I think I got that in a, somewhere in the presentation, that it's a $5,000 tanker truck. So it's about a $25 impact to your tanker trucks as they come in. So it's whether or not that drives people away. And I think Will mentioned it in the last presentation, the PFAS concern. Some of this waste stream as well.
Yes, so the septage, and you were comfortable going to 8 cents, you know, I mean, that doesn't seem the distance.
We're currently at peak volume for our facility for septic receiving. If we receive much more, there'll be process issues, or I'd have to turn the station on for the day.
So personally, I mean, I guess I'll start a little bit here, is that I'm comfortable with the septage fee. I don't think the drain layer license fee is a key, that's what's more in line with everything else. With 19, I don't think anyone's gonna say.
But it's also not a huge source of
Not a huge source anyway.
It's not, they want to be aligned, right?
Right. Renewal fee. And then, so you're saying we don't have to make the decision on a connection fee of 16 to 20,000 tonight, so that's fine. So the big question would then be the 10%, and we know at least part of that, we know there's a deficit, so we have to find that somewhere. So, are we aligned for at least those top three, you think?
Yeah, Nancy, thank you for doing all of this research and this work, and you always do give us all of the options and the considerations. I agree that, putting the connection fee aside, that we have to pay bills, these are incurred bills, they have to be paid for, and that these are reasonable and responsible ways to get to where we need to go. I would on the sewer connection fee, I know it's the purview of this board, but I would like to have an opportunity to get some feedback from the planning board on their feeling about, I never want to assume, I would think that they would support this, but given the, all of the other factors in development in town, I think it would be respectful of us to ask their opinion on that piece. Although I think I'm in support of it personally, but I would like that input. So yes, to answer your question, everything with that, I think is meeting the responsibility of our commission.
Will just made a good point, on the septic fees, if you do decide to go up by the half cent per gallon, we should make it August 1st, so we can give notice to the homes. I think that's how close we are to July 1st, here we are in the final week of the fiscal year.
So does that change your numbers?
Yeah.
It's August.
Well, I mean, I think a month's worth of
A
septic.
month's worth of,
Inconsequential, essentially.
yeah, I'm good, thank you very much, this is exactly what I wanted to look about, like the whole picture, and not just across the board increase. And I do think we need more conversation on the increase of sewer connection. I know that's not now, but in the future, we need more discussion, it's interesting the different bedrooms that some communities are doing, and yeah, and I would like the planning board discussion. Good suggestion. I'm good, thank you for the,
Thank you all for
Analysis.
taking it up, so you can take a look at it.
yeah,
No, yeah, it was so helpful, it really was.
oh, yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I may,
sorry, yes.
I will say, we keep putting off the sewer connection question. We keep putting it off. And the more stuff that's in the pipeline, that it doesn't, doesn't impact, it's just, we've got quite a few, projects coming up. Not all of sewer connection fees, but we're working on that MBTA community housing problem. So I think we owe it to ourselves to not put off this conversation too much longer.
Expedite.
Yes.
Okay. That's a very good point, yes.
Could I just, we did do a huge increase to the sewer connection fee up to $16,000.
I understand, but I think,
No, I'm just adding something.
okay,
One of the very big challenges that the departments had, because I was working with them, was grandfathering people who have already put their plans in and have already planned for the $16,000 fee as opposed to $20,000. So that's just something to
no, I completely agree with you, and that's why I'm saying we already have things that are in development that the $16,000 is going to apply to. If we're looking to increase this, we better look sooner rather than later, because before you know it, we'll have yet more in the pipeline, and the 16,000, if we don't get to it, will apply instead of a 20,000. And MBTA is a big potential amount of development, so.
Yeah, I agree, we should expedite the conversation, but we should have a wide, but yeah.
Okay.
Are we
How
done?
do we expedite that conversation? Is it the whoever's the planning board liaison?
That would be,
There you go.
Didn't I just sort of?
You just volunteered to expedite that conversation.
That's
all
why,
I'm here
that's why I brought up the MBTA situation, it's on my mind.
Okay.
Would you like motions on the
Yes.
first three? Move that the select board vote to increase sewer usage and base rates by 10% for fiscal year 2024 as indicated on the proposed fiscal 24 sewer rate effective rate sheet effective, this would be August 1st?
No, July 1st was this one.
Okay, this one says the other one, okay, July 1st, 2023. Move that the select board vote to increase the drain layer license and drain layer license renewal fee to $200 effective July 1st, 2023. Vote to increase the select board vote to increase septic fees from 7.075 gallon per gallon to 2.08 gallons effective August 1st, 2023.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Harrison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Water.
Thanks, Will.
Okay, so the same is true for the water presentation, it has been cut down because we've already heard everything in the first one. Just recanting the backwards driving this particular enterprise fund is personnel costs and increases in the debt service. And what the board had charged us with was looking at tier differentials rather than just a flat rate increase. The additional personnel costs are outlined on your screen, as well as the 4 potential debt services, and the ones in yellow are the ones that I think should be included in the rates. And again, that probably there'll be additional water main funding needed at the October special town meeting. So all told, we're looking at rather than $250,000 for the sewer enterprise, we're looking at $750,000 for the water enterprise, excuse me. So as a refresher, the tier consumption, everyone that has uses is affected by tier 1. About 0.5% of the users are affected by tier 2, and then only about 10% or less for tier 3, and then just a very small percent by tier 4, which was adopted in fiscal 21. So I looked at 6 different options, and I built a matrix, so we can look at limitless options on this. On the first line in red is the current rate differentials, and then option 1 was basically keeping the tier differentials unchanged and just a base rate increase of 10.5%. You can see in the second to last column the impact on the residential bill, and then the total estimated revenue that will be generated between residential and commercial. And as noted by several board members already, the commercial has a single rate. It's in the totals, but I didn't call it out separately. So whatever the base rate, usage rate increase would be, we would apply to that as well, but they're not affected by the tier differentials. And then I just started backing it down. So I took it down to 9%, leveled out the tier 2 to just around 340, and that's the same in all of the options. And then increased tier 3 by 65% and tier 4 to 50%. So about 5 to 10% increase. That brought down the overall bill by about $9 with a similar impact for the total estimated revenue. And then we worked our way down to 7%, 5%, 2%, shifting that to the tier 3 and tier 4 ratepayers. And that brought down the overall bill. So the highest shift that I examined was a 2% base, 2% usage rate increase, and then 100% rate differential for tier 3 and another 100% for tier 4, which would result in the average residential tax bill, residential water bill going up about $19. And then the estimated revenue was $764. I also gave you a handout that showed the rates. It showed what the impact would be on double that average amount and then triple that average amount. Thank you. So this is a required glasses. So that $807 bill for the average tax, I want to say tax, water consumer in fiscal '23 would go to say $8.26 and the lowest shift for base rate increase. But someone who used 150 cubic feet, so double the average, would go from 1,672 up to 1,828, about $150, $55 increase. Someone who used triple that, 225 cubic feet, would go from 2,938 up to 3,738, so about an $800 increase. So a high user that was 200, basically triple the average, would definitely have an impact if you were to shift all the way down to option 5. And then option 6 is my hybrid option, where the base rate, because you know I love base rate because it's not subject to any volatility, everybody has to pay base rate, goes up 5%, the usage only goes up 2.5%, and then that brings the rate differential for tier 3 and tier 4 down to 90%. And again, you're in the ballpark of where you want to be for overall estimated revenue. So again, this is just what our rate increases have been in the past. Our comparison of the water bill with other communities. So this would still, even in that range of 826 to 892, we're still third because of the differential between Hanover, who is 553, and then as compared to Hingham, which is 983. As Susan and I were speaking today, and she made a very good point, and something we need to add to future presentations is, it looks like we are drastically out of step with some other communities, but we have a water treatment plant and other communities may not. So Norwell, Marshfield, Duxbury, none of them have water treatment plants. They're well water only. So they don't have to staff it, they don't need chemicals for it, they don't have to operate and maintain a treatment plant. So it's a different kettle of fish. So it's something to bring that up, just so that you know when you're looking at these items, why is it so much cheaper there? Because they have well water, they don't have treatment. As you can tell, Hingham and Cohasset have treatment plants. I don't know where the board's pleasure is on this. Like I said, I have a matrix, so there are endless permutations of that particular slide that we can run, and I'm happy to do so. I spent a happy Saturday or Sunday doing this. I'm like, I have to stop. Like option 6, just one more. Give me a little caffeine, I can have a lot of fun.
All right. Let me start with this. Base rate, because there's a lot of meat here. I guess I'd like to know, if we started just with the base rate, is anyone here really in favor of a 10.5% increase? No, all right, so.
No.
Okay, so one's off the table.
That's why we did it.
Who is comfortable with a 9% on the base rate? 0, okay. 2's off the table. 3 with a 7%, who likes 7%?
Well, when you,
Yes.
when you start from 3 down, I don't think you can look at just the base rate without looking at some of the other assumptions, because then they start to hit each other. So when I look at option 5 at 100% in theory before, it raises the question of, will we make numbers that people go, holy crap, that's a lot of money, and they drop down. And good news is we'd be conserving water. Bad news is we wouldn't make the numbers needed to fill the gap. So to me, number 5, even though I love the idea of not charging base rate 1 or 2%, I just don't think that I would be comfortably considering 5 is there's that unknown impact if you are, especially in tier 4, that's $1,000 more bill.
And that was one of the questions of the board when we adopted tier 4. We're only 3 years into tier 4, right, but it was at 3.5%, then it dropped down. but is it because of meteorological events, or was it because of changes in behavior, and now it's popping back up to 2.6? So that was a concern with tier 4, would we change behavior? And I still think, I don't know, whether I'm not sure that we have enough information to judge. The people who are gonna water are gonna water.
I 100% agree with that, and, but I'm just concerned that if we go that radical, that we might find ourselves in a pinch down. That's just sort of where I am, so I would feel like number 5 will come off the table for that.
And I feel just the opposite.
Really?
I do.
Oh,
Just the opposite. Yeah.
Of course, I was just gonna say, I was just trying to kill some of these options.
Yeah, I think you killed two.
So this, okay, then we got 4, then we got 4 to talk about, yes, please.
For some reason, on option 5, the bill goes up, annual estimated bill goes up less. The amount of revenue is the highest. Where you're concerned about, and it looks to, and I think we need, is it 755? Is that number?
Yes.
Okay, so if we do option 5, we're taking in more than the 755, we're taking 764. I believe that the tier 4 people, tier 3 even, are not price sensitive. I think they're gonna fill their pool, I think they're gonna fill it 3 times if they have to. I feel like, and if by, increasing those top 2 tiers by as much as that, if we encourage, it encourages people to try to save water, that's not a bad thing. But we still have some cushion left to, yeah. And I think to be really sensitive to people at the lower end of the economic scale, a 2% increase on the base rate and the usage rate is sensitive to them.
And they do have relief through the water rebate program. If they have older fixtures, they could replace them and get some money back and a savings on their bill, if they're rate sensitive.
And I guess my question would be, if my guess on this, and I guess it's only a guess on anyone's part, is right, then we're okay. If it's wrong, what recourse would we have?
I think we have sufficient revenue to get through the year. I'm not concerned with fiscal 24 for the water enterprise. But I think then when you have the same discussion the following year, you can say, okay, well, this is what tier 4 now did. Tier 4 is now under 2%. It definitely had an impact.
Right.
So do you want to start providing relief, or have everyone who needed relief gotten out of tier 4?
Right.
So there's a 20, even now, even though the you lost 25% of tier 4 to tier 3. So it's a 25% decrease. That's with making a whole tier, right? So I don't know. I think those folks are still. I think you're right, I don't know how many are still gonna move on, I mean, maybe some.
Well, and if a few tier 4 people moved on to tier 3, it's probably not the end of the world.
Yeah, they're probably not.
I'm asking a question as a resident. The tier 4.
Name and address, please.
Yes, Lorraine Davenport. At one time, we had a list of who was in these tiers. And I thought, and I couldn't remember wrong, that there were a lot of businesses in tier 4.
No, if they're commercial, they have a single rate.
So they're not based on.
They shouldn't have a residential, they should have a residential, they should have a commercial.
So those businesses are not in here.
They're in the total estimated revenue, but they're not affected by the rate differentials because they have a single tier.
All right, thank you for your clarification.
I asked the same question. That's a good question.
No, it is because there are some businesses
Yeah,
that
I don't
are.
want to put barns and farms out of business.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, we talked.
No, the consumers are gonna pay a different rate, that's all.
Well,
It's not as neat, so it's.
It's a different.
What does your guys tell me?
And we're not changing the commercial rate, or are we changing?
They would be affected by the base
They're
rate and the
only-
usage rate, but you could change, you could adopt a different rate increase for them.
Yeah.
I didn't study them, I pulled them out separately because a 1% usage change on them is $4,000.
Yeah.
So,
No, I get it. So whatever option we go with, that base rate would flow through to the commercial.
yeah, unless you.
That's how I
take it
understood it
off.
when we talked, yeah.
Unless you take it out, change your motion, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, we've got rebates. I also do want another thing, and maybe, like, I do think, and maybe myself, because I just went through this with the water, like, abatement process, I do think we have to make that more transparent. Because I worry about, like, if we are increasing the prices so much and somebody has an undetected leak and they don't know until they get their bill, they need to know the steps to go through to ask for abatement. So I do think we need to be more transparent, put that online. But I tend toward the heavier charging the high utilizers. But I think we need some sort of safety for people if there's an issue with like an undetected leak or billing issue.
Isn't that a different issue?
That they're not stuck with a $500 bill.
If people have a leak,
Well,
they get a huge water bill, leaving aside your issue over.
No, but if someone gets a huge water bill, they have to call the water department and request that a form be sent to them via mail or be sent to them via email. And then they fill it out. So if we put it online, if we publicize a little bit more how you make an abatement process, how you do abatement. Because right now, there's nothing online that says how you go through abatement. So, I also think we need to be more transparent. But that's a separate issue,
Yeah.
but I worry about somebody getting a really high bill. And what's the process to go through that? But I tend toward the high utilizers, like.
No, we don't have one there, we don't use the irrigation system anymore, we don't have a pool. I had 2 adults move out of the house, we're moving down tiers.
Yeah.
I think that's critical. But if we're gonna be, these are just not just water consumers, but there are neighbors and friends that they have an issue, they should not have to go through all hoops and where do I find it? Yeah, no, I think that's a very important point to make sure that, hey, it could be an issue, but it's gonna be a good deal. $800 bill.
Yeah, it's gonna be huge, if you have an issue, it's gonna be huge, you're gonna get it, you're gonna get like a $600 bill, if you have an undetected leak.
It has happened. I don't know if I was on the board at the time, but yeah, we
So-
had.
You're gonna have these one times and people need to understand like how can they rectify this?
Yeah.
Clearly,
Right,
and maybe more accessible,
Well, they come
like
to the
they could
water
actually
commissioners.
fill out a form online and email it directly or something, I mean, we can think through that, but.
So the other point which I think you led with is the base increase versus the usage rate increase. So option 6 is the one option that splits that a bit.
That's like the hybrid, right?
That's the hybrid rate, the cafeteria on Saturday night.
Love that guaranteed revenue.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
And then your commercial would take a 5% of their base and a 2.5% of their usage.
Yeah, it's definitely the less risky.
It's the less risky and it still puts the, I think Katie makes a great point that, you know, tier 4 probably is not price sensitive at all. And,
Not at all.
And it also is above there's a cushion on what the threshold is too. And the overall increase is, really estimated was if you go with the second lowest in the options. We got that.
So now we're down to option 5 and 6. These are our final two. We're in the finals here.
Well, I started more in the middle because I was more concerned about, what happens if we don't meet the 2, 3, and 4 numbers. But, persuaded that that's less sensitive. I mean, we all know. Yeah.
There are some people in there that, yes, are sensitive, but I think.
No,
that
we
would be
are-
program, no, that may, force that issue.
We know some of the tier 4s, you guys have been out, you know, fines, and not the one Carol now.
So we get fines.
Oh, we find people in that.
There's no, what's the fine? What's the total?
We increased it.
It was just.
300 a day.
More than the last number was.
And we, used to be $100 a day, now it's $300
$300 a day.
I think we had someone that got fined every
a
day.
day. Every day.
Yeah, and that's just sprinkler stuff, right?
Just so you know.
Yeah, that's.
It was $100.
Yeah, back then.
$300, oh my God.
He said I spent $40,000 on
Landscape.
landscaping, so $3,000 in fines, fine and $100 a day. We didn't, fine $100 a day for a whole month.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with 4, 5, and 6.
I'm more concerned with the people who are on the lower end
Yeah.
I am
of the
too.
economic scale.
I am too.
And I think a 5% is, I think 2%, we make more money on option 5 than any of the others. And the annual estimated residential bill is less than any of the others. And the only people who are paying significantly more are people in tier 3 and tier 4, and they can change their behavior if they want. And our biggest, issue with that is if everyone from tier 4 and tier 3 decide they're not gonna fill their pools, they're not gonna water their lawns, then we're in a different situation.
But we can also monitor consumption after we get first,
Right.
probably I would say 2.
Yeah.
Because the usage they're gonna get now, they're already incurring that usage. But like halfway through the year, I can report back to the board and say, here's where we at. Let's put some grammar, here is where we are at, with the usage compared to last year.
Yeah.
It's almost done.
Where are you at? You said where you're at?
I was just happy to get away from the 10 and a half. I was happy with
Across the
4.
board. You just didn't want to cross the board.
Oh, yeah, so I was happy, 3 down. I didn't know where the board stood, so I mean, I love 4, I love 5, I love 6. I think there will be some folks in tier 3 who will change behavior, but I think that's a good thing.
That's a good thing. That goes to like our goals.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'm pleasantly surprised that we can go into 5. I didn't know because I think 3 will be. I think that's where we're gonna lose people. And I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's because you start saying, hey, I really want it, that's a good thing.
Don't shower.
Yeah.
The ocean's right there.
Stop showering.
I know, desalinization.
Smelly teenagers.
No, and the whole goal, as you said, it's all seen inflation. Everything is more expensive, and the folks who are doing the right thing are in tier 1. And 2, it's the least impact of what we do, and it's fabulous. So, you're okay with that?
Yeah,
You're there.
we're fine.
You're nervous.
I am, I know, I'm between 5 and 6. I like the certainty of the base rate. And the burden, does shift the burden to the higher, definitely increases the burden to the higher tiers. And the usage rate is supports conservation at all levels. So, I don't know. So what did you, where are you coming out of?
Oh, I was at 5. I think we put our values in it too, right?
Yeah, I mean, what's your biggest nervousness?
It's the risk.
Is the
risk is the issue.
is the money?
I'm just well, I mean, honestly, the difference between 10 and 190% of those tiers is probably not worth angsting about. And we've got the wiggle room of this, Karen said, we have the wiggle room of, if we get it wrong, we can adjust or, we can fall off some and still be okay. So, yeah. I was.
These are all imperfect.
Yeah.
Everything we do, it's gonna be, I'm with you, no, there's
It's all.
risk in one of these.
There's risk and, yeah.
Okay.
Budgets are about values.
Yeah.
They are.
Okay. I think we have a majority vote in place. I don't have to agree with you either.
No, I mean, we're gonna, and no, I just, look, I agree with you, we're putting our values out there, but I totally understand what you're saying, that there is risk. Because we're trying to also fund the project, and I totally get that, I don't want that to go unheard.
Are you comfortable with 5?
Yeah, well, I mean, we can evaluate it halfway through and see how we're doing. Let's see if we have an issue.
Comfortable too? Do you think there's gonna be drop off?
There'll be some, I definitely think there'll be some.
Like you say, in the higher tiers, or for the people that are
Sure.
just teetering in.
Yeah.
We'll cut back to come down into it. At $15 a year.
And that's always the problem with water conservation. The more you encourage it, your revenue is affected and your rates may have to go higher to offset.
Right.
We won't be able
But
to
then we're
try.
accomplishing.
We got tier 4, we're gonna try for now.
Alright. Please.
Move that the select board vote to increase the water usage and base rates by 2% for fiscal year 2024 as indicated on the proposed FY 24 water rate sheet effective July 1st, 2023. And further, the select board change the differential between tier 1 and 2 from 335.7% to 340%. And the differential between tier 2 and 3 from 60.6% to 100%, and the differential between tier 3 and tier 4 from 40% to 100%.
Motion by Ms. Conley, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Harrison. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, vote unanimous.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, they were all that hard
Did it,
work.
Nancy.
Great analysis. Thank you.
Now we have our matrix for next year.
We do.
That's
Yes.
wonderful.
We do.
Have your vote.
You can't go wrong.
We have one day, one in multiple licenses. Just, and we'll look at these, does anyone have any issues on any of these before we?
I do not. I've looked at them all.
Alright,
They are in order.
everything is in order. I will take motions.
To approve a one-day, one-and-a-month license for the Black Apron for private events at the Scituate Maritime Center on July 2nd from 12 to 4 p.m. and July 8th from 5 to 9 p.m. And move to approve a one-day, one-and-a-month license to use fish market for private events from 7 to 11 p.m. at 8 Allen Place, July 1st, 13th, 14th, and 21st, 2023. And move to approve a one-day wine and malt license to Allen Mackenzie Catering for private events in Scituate Maritime Center on July 8th, 2023, from 11:30 to 2:30 p.m. Second.
Motion by Ms. Canfield, seconded by Ms. Conley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Other business? Liaison reports.
Well, I can do planning board, there's a new working group that is working with a consultant, the town planner, the chair of the planning board, and Jim Boudreau, to work on the MBTA community, housing requirements. It's very complicated, and, they've been working very hard, Karen Joseph and her staff, have been working very hard to make sure that we're in compliance by the deadlines that we have to do, and it's not easy, so again, it's quite complicated, but the consultant seems very knowledgeable, and the goal is to get the planning board to have zoning changes ready for the town meeting in the spring that will hopefully make us one step closer to being in compliance, so that's going to be role on the planning board. Which is why I was concerned about making sure that we're ahead of the game in terms of, because that's potentially a lot of units, potentially, whether they all get built, who knows, but. And then I think you're all aware that the planning board is also dealing with the issue of placement of 5G antennas on telephone poles in the Scituate Harbor area near residences, and all I can say is Jim knows much more about this than I do, but you know, that this has nothing to do with this board, but I thought everyone should be aware. This is up to the planning board to issue a special permit, and they've had a couple of hearings already, and they're having another one in August to try to deal with the issues that the neighbors have. But it's a tough situation, and we may have to try to amend our bylaws. It's too late for the current applications, but going forward, we may want to see what we can do. But there are FCC mandates that we simply can't ignore. And, but AT&T is actually going back to look at an alternate site for one of the streets, instead of having it be on Mass Street. This is Robert Bates Street.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the street, but it's in the same area.
But they're looking at Jericho Road possibly, so that it might not be near a residence, but the Allen Place is less, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
So, that's. Oh, and I will say that, Pier 44, they're refining the parking concepts for Pier 44 so that, we'll be able to, we're trying to balance not taking away too much parking while not turning the entire Pier 44 into simply a parking lot. So the committee's been working very hard with the landscape architects to make it a balance. And they did go in to see parking rules and regulations to run by a couple of concepts by them. So they're moving along.
Thank you.
Quick things, on July 7th, well invited to the Sister City Santa Catarina de Fuego Cape Verdean Independence Celebration at the Harbor Community Building from 6 to 10. It'll be a big day. And then once we are done, Sister City Bastille Day will be celebrated on July 13th. Unfortunately, that's our retreat, but it's at the Senior Center from 5 to 8. Similar situation, just want you guys to know that ComCom is considering an application for a private dock in Scituate Harbor. It's just unusual, so I'm bringing it to your attention that it's been continued. Most of it will be state regulations will come to bear, but they're addressing.
Chapter 91A,
Yes, after time.
And the amount.
And we're all here, but I think that it's getting a lot of community attention, so I bring it to your attention. And very excitedly, want us to do today, tomorrow, the library half-price book sale. Goes, we have 6 days, they're not consecutive, but you know, that's how you get those dates, and and it's due, I think. They are posting their half-price.
I wanna
book sale.
sell books, not buy them.
Oh, I know, but you know, all those people headed to the beach, they said, great, way to go. And I will, just so the board's aware, I will be missing the July 25th meeting, and be out of town. Won't be able to Zoom in or anything.
Just to follow up on Mrs. Canfield, it'll be a busy couple of weeks for DPW. Next week, we'll have the American flags flying on Front Street. The town has purchased Cape Verde flags, so they'll be going the week after that for Cape Verde Independence Day. And then the French flags will go up the week after that for Bastille Day. So all our three sister cities, we've got three sister cities.
Appoint ambassadors.
We felt we'd do the Irish flags with the French flags, so we have the Cape Verde flags now.
Rotate another one and just leave them on.
So we'll be a little busy, there might be a lag of a day or two getting them up and down, but we'll get them up for those celebrations.
That's great.
Excellent. You liaised.
What I liaised to the Concom. You.
Oh, I'm not on that anymore? Sorry.
I was like, you were.
I forgot that I hoisted that on you.
The Commission on Disabilities, the coming, just so you know, for us at some point, we'll talk about fees, the working.
Yes, I can add to that,
Talk about.
because they're in traffic rules
Parking
and
and,
regs. They would like to.
Handicap spots.
handicap spots.
Oh, you park
They're scheduled for the next meeting.
Oh, it is,
They,
okay.
they would like to, they voted to increase the fine from $100 to $300 for parking in a handicap spot without the proper ID.
Yeah.
Having said that, how many tickets get issued 1 year? 10?
Not many.
I mean, it's not
Yeah, but
something.
they had like $3,000 they saved, they bought that, that's true.
Yeah, but my point is,
Oh, it's not
it's
that
not like this
Oh, yeah,
giant revenue
Oh,
source.
yeah, no. I
Um,
think it's very good.
And I think the
Drivers.
committee basically said, you know what, we just wanna send the message, don't park in a handicap spot, and hopefully people will think twice about $300 versus $100.
I mean, as the harbor gets busier, that's where it occurs, but as the harbor gets busier, it could become more, you know, I'm just running in, that's what you get, I'm just running in.
For 5 minutes. And they are allowed to ticket on private property, for example, so no wharf parking lot is private, but the police are allowed to go in if there's a handicap.
Oh, for handicap, yeah.
So.
And we don't have any on our beaches.
We do,
Yeah, but-
oh, yes, we do. Holy cow,
All
yes,
the
we
beaches
do.
have some.
Oh, do we?
We're gonna talk about that?
No, I don't want to talk about it. Oh, yeah. And
Well,
they're in the
themselves
right
in it.
places too.
Are they?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I've obviously never parked in one. I
No,
wouldn't do that, I wouldn't do that.
no.
All right, correspondence,
We
clerk.
we did have one correspondence from the meeting with the Army Corps held on June 6th at the Senior Center, so Loretta, who is it? Just on the project is going to cost more than expected, and Jim knows a lot more about this than I do, but bottom line, the cost is a lot more than we projected and almost committed at the last annual town meeting. So, no, Jim, you can help in this, right?
You have, I think, correspondence from the Scituate Association asking us to put an article on to authorize borrowing of $7 million. If you recall, when we were discussing those, it was Mr. Vignani, we wanted to pull that off because we don't have the capacity to issue all the debt for all the seawalls that we're doing. So we pulled that off because it was an Army Corps project and wanted the Army Corps to pick up most of the cost, and I sent the board a memo to that effect. It was a $16 to $17 million project. The Army Corps to pick up 10, we'd go for grants and get the balance. That project is now $25 to $30 million for the same seawall. The Army Corps can only do 10 unless it's a direct congressional appropriation, which means that from other sources, the town would have to make out $15 to $20 million, which obviously we can't do. So we're working with our congressional delegation. The Army Corps has not closed the project, which would be bad. But those costs are getting to the point where I don't know how we're gonna be able to do that project. The governor is releasing a new infrastructure bill, which is gonna have, based upon our press release, about $63 million for resiliency in these type of structures. I had a good conversation with Rep. Cuny about it. But the question is gonna be, is that cash or is it borrowed? If it's a bond, the state will do $2 billion in authorization and never issue a bond, so we might never see that today. But we're gonna have to be kind of creative on funding. That was actually the project. We put in the $5 million for federal direct appropriation for heating for the water treatment plant. That was one of his chosen projects that he put forward. So if they get that, we had asked the Senator's office for seawall money. That was a project I put into that, but they were not put on their funding list, so something's gonna have to keep banging away up. But the cost of these projects is going up, and the state is making it more expensive. Coastal Zone Management wants us to do beach nourishment now. They came in at the last minute. They're actually holding up the project on Oceanside right now. We still haven't gotten underway to repair Third Cliff from 2012, 14. Storm's going back 8-10 years because the last minute Coastal Zone Management came and said, we want you to do beach nourishment here. So it's just not the cost of the project, but the cost of the requirements that the state started to put on us, so it's just getting more and more and more expensive. I did send you a memo on I emailed it to you, it's moved me to your correspondence, I sent it out a couple days ago. If you have any questions about it, feel free.
That's fine.
We'll have to talk about that so much more, especially with the trees. Meeting.
Yes.
Do I have a motion to approve meeting minutes?
Move to approve the meeting minutes of June
13th.
13th, thank you, Lorraine, 2023.
Motion by Ms. Conlon, second by Ms. Harrison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn and sign documents.
Second.
Second by Ms. Conlon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.